Now let's see if it will actually do it. I have to hit start hangout on air, I think, on here.
Okay.
It's going to open up another window. Yeah. I've read all your stuff. Now see, it's making me do another join. It wants to open up another window. Well, let's see if it worked. All right. I've got two. No, okay, so this one it shows there, but events one coming. Start stream now. I must have done something wrong.
Oh, I think you're live actually. It says Frugal Force chat. I think you're live.
Yeah, but if you open, let me open up another YouTube then and see if it's showing up on there. I just want to make sure. Oh yeah, it says live watching now. Okay, yep, there it is. Okay, yep, and we have lots of people already chatting. Hi, everybody. Oh, there we go. Let's see if that worked. You guys hear us okay? It's working. Okay, good. That's a good sign there. Yeah, it must have been an operator error on my part. I'm still getting some of the bugs worked out on how this works here. Okay, so we're all good. So how's everybody doing? Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. All right, they're on another one. This is not working. They're on another one. I don't know if it's working yet. Let's see here. Well, this didn't work very well.
Yeah, just don't go to the Frugal Force chat because there's kind of two links.
There's two links now?
Yeah, like the one that we're on right now is Frugal Force chat, and the other one is
with Billy Cool.
Yeah, Billy Cool, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, let me close that one out then. There we go. And I'll go back to YouTube, and that's what it is. I still got to get the hang of this. Up there, okay, there's the... See, mine's not showing that. Mine's just showing with Billy Cool, and it says live now. So mine's not giving me that one.
Does it say Frugal Force chat with Billy Cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that is not that we exited from. The one we're on right now.
It just popped up. Yeah, it just popped up. All right, there we go. There we go. Can you guys hear me now? See if there. Yeah, I just pulled that one up. Mine came really late for some reason.
Oh yeah. So yeah, anyone watching the previous stream, just go to Frugal Force chat, not Frugal Force chat with Billy Cool.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I'm getting better at it slowly. I'll put the link up top there so people know where to go. My mistake there. Hey, we waiting. Can't see you or hear you yet. Oh, crap. Now it's not working on that one. They can't see or hear us.
Oh, really? Because I can see it.
Yeah, I know. I could see it too. I guess I'm going to have to close this out and do the whole thing over again.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Going to close this. Oh, now the Nerd Wonder says he can. Oh, you know what it is? They're not in there. Okay.
No, I can see. No, I can hear you. I can hear you. No, actually, I can hear you. I unmuted the sound, and I can hear the chat.
It's the people in the chat.
Oh, okay. I can hear. I'm looking at the live stream.
Yeah, I'm going to tell them right now. If people in the chat, if you cannot hear or see us, close out and go to the one that says Frugal Force chat. There we go. That ought to take care of it. There, the Frugal Force works on the one that says the one that says Billy Cool, and then name doesn't. Yep, that's what we just figured out.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Good. So sorry about the confusion. That would have probably been my fault, to be my guess, as I'm slowly learning how to do this. Good.
Okay.
There we are. This is only like the fourth or fifth one I've launched. You'd think I'd have it down by now. All right.
Okay.
I think I have to start it right from Google or from YouTube rather than starting it through the other first. Yeah, All right. Well, hello, everyone. I appreciate you visiting. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me, Billy Cool. And what is it for the dark memes? What is it? How do
Oh,
I say that now?
no, my title is Dank Lord of the Memes.
Dank Lord of the Memes. There we go.
Yeah, I am challenging Count Dankula's claim to dank power.
Excellent. We're going to talk today a little bit about the current trend of Marvel with their writers, as well as some TV stuff. So, just have a little fun chat.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Dink, how has your wonderful discussions online been with Marvel employees?
Well, the only person who's responded to me so far, I think, is Gail Simone. She was responding to me, but I've tried messaging Kwanzaa, but he wouldn't respond back. And Ron Mars hasn't responded back. Yeah, the ones who I've talked to, most of them don't seem to respond to me.
I'm blocked by almost all of them at this point.
Yeah, Heather Antos blocked me, and then Dan Slott blocked me. I don't think I even tweeted to him.
Oh, you don't have to. His block bots work hard.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of those people. I'm getting to be to the point where if you're connected with me, to expect to be blocked soon, because none of them seem to want to chat with me.
So why would they block you since you're not very antagonistic? Like me, it makes sense because I am kind of antagonistic, and I will throw out some insults, if they're pulling their games.
Well, that's the thing. I find that quite fun because, as you notice, and I think other ones will say it too, I'm not very antagonistic to them, but I think they fear to answer me because I turn around and ask them questions and they refuse to answer them, and then they just block me.
Yeah, I think it's because they're so used to people agreeing with them and telling them that they can never be wrong, that they're not prepared to ask questions.
Yeah, I mean, for example, like Audrey Siderson, he almost blocked everybody. Yeah, but before that, I asked him, well, why is he, feel that it's his, he has the choice to pick who can grieve over an incident, and who can't. And of course, he never responded. So, let's see. I've had the old. Which one was that did the ball bat one?
The ball. I think that was Mags.
Yeah, Mags. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mags, I asked, well, how did you expect that? Do you expect that comment to, go over well? Did you not expect that people would have an issue with that?
I'm generally surprised that she hasn't been fired over a tweet like that because, it's been specified many times by lots of people that when you work a job, saying threatening stuff on social media is a definite way to harm your career, your opportunities to be in a career.
Yeah, I just don't understand that business mentality.
Yeah, it's very terrible business mentality. And if people want to boycott Marvel, I think that is definitely one of the best reasons to boycott Marvel over if they're going to hire someone who's like that mentally threatening. Because it doesn't matter if you're like supposedly the victim of some sort of crime against you. You just can't make threats like that online. That's just, it's against the law.
Right.
It's like being bullied and saying that gives me a right to basically, harass other people and like beat them up.
It's just absolutely ridiculous how these people think they can get away from that, get away with that and not have any business impact at all. I will scratch my head on that forever. It's like, really? I mean, look at Dan Slott right now and his amazing Spider-Man sales.
What I find really weird is that all of these people have essentially grown up on shows like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, all those quality kids television shows, and they didn't learn the lesson of not lowering themselves to these ridiculous standards.
I agree 100%. Everything they're doing is the opposite of what they've been told.
I mean, that's literally what all PBS shows were teaching kids back in the day was don't, be a nice person. Don't lower yourself to be so vindictive and mean-spirited and, be a better person.
Yeah. Now, I'm not much one for antagonizing. I said I try to ask questions and get discussion. But I will say, have you followed Conservative Nerd with his Mary Lou Supreme or whatever Twitter account?
I don't think I might have. I'm not sure.
Well, he started with infiltrating the group, but he'd go in and say the stupidest butt-kissing things to SJWs and everything just to get woven in a little bit. And he goes, okay, I've had enough of this crap. And then he just, at one night, he had a spree of just blowing them all up. He went after every single one of them at once.
Okay. Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Okay.
So I give him mad props for that one. It's like, okay, guys, I'm going to go out in a bang on this one.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you watch Paul Joseph Watson's videos?
I have not.
Okay, well, he's really good. I think he's arguably one of the best content creators from InfoWars. And
okay. I have seen some InfoWars. Come to think.
Well, he's kind of more independent now. I mean, he's still attached with them and does some videos with them, but I think nowadays he's doing his own thing more.
Okay.
You should definitely watch his video on everything wrong with pop culture, or it's called Pop Culture Sucks or something like that.
If you don't mind, I'll have you send me a link to it later on, and I'll check it out. Because otherwise, I'm gonna forget. I've got so many I'm getting bombarded with.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send you a link. Yeah, the video is called "The Truth About Pop Culture." It's really good because it basically sums up like what's wrong with SJW Marvel and how it's related to everything wrong with pop culture, where it's all the same stuff over and over again, and people who try to challenge the norm or narrative are just getting kicked out of pop culture. Or not being allowed to take center stage. Like they talk about music, how music sounds all the same. There's nothing new, and all the people who challenge like the narrative get forced to the side.
Oh, that's cool.
And with SJW Marvel and I think mainstream comics as a whole, it's kind of similar where it's basically the same thing over and over again. There's no real new ideas. It's just a bunch of, hacks acting like they're doing something new when they're actually just doing the same thing over and over again. And they're, politically intolerant. So you can't really get any new people with new ideas.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that. Definitely check that out. I tell you, I've been having a really hard time keeping up. There've been so many great new YouTubers popping up recently, and I'm trying to be supportive of the community. And by the way, anybody, if I said I'll have you on and things like that, and I haven't lately, and you think I've forgotten, go ahead and message me because I've been getting flooded with them. My intent is to do that for everybody and with everybody. It's just I did not expect the massive turnout I have been getting.
Okay. Well, I mean, more turnout the better, because I said this on I think Captain Cummings' stream before he's leaving in October. It was either that stream, maybe it was Irate Prostate stream, where basically when you take him in Diversity in Comics, like their subscribers, and let's say we lowball their total subscribers for each person is like say 40, because a lot of their subscribers interchange with each other, where like the same person subscribed to both channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just say like each of them are. So let's say the between them they have 40,000 subscribers. Different people. If those 40,000 subscribers decide that they're going to boycott Marvel Comics, then that's a huge loss of sales right there. Which is why the creators find them so dangerous and want them gone.
Right. And, and it's bubbling up all over. And as I said, yeah, I think it's obvious Diversity in Comics is target number one. And that's why. And then Captain Cummings, actually, I think Captain Cummings was target number one at first. They tried to bring him down. Yeah. They did a good chunk of hit on him with Twitter. And then they went after Diversity in Comics hard. And, the question you have to ask is, well, who's next? And people were saying, I have to say, even though I might not have been as big, I was getting hit left and right, too.
Okay. I always thought, it sounds like Doug Ernst might be next, because it sounds like Dan Slott has some obsession with him. Like he apparently stalks him.
Yeah, but that's nothing unusual. Dan Slott has been stalking him for years. As a matter of fact, he's been stalking me for years, too. He created a sock puppet account to come at me at one point. Okay. And when I called him out on it, I never heard from that sock puppet account again.
Yeah, but it sounds like he's the main culprit for getting people kicked off of Twitter for going against SJW Marvel.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be very hard to get Doug Ernst off, because first, he doesn't tweet a whole lot, and two, he's very meticulous about what he tweets. And I don't think he tweets any content that's going to really put him in trouble. So, and the one time he did get a temporary ban is because he reported somebody that actually did something that should have been banned against him, and they didn't do anything about it. So he tweeted, "It's like, really, somebody threatens me and and nothing happens," and they banned him for like 24 hours or whatever for that.
And this was on Twitter.
Yeah.
I thought Twitter didn't really have like repercussions for reporting people falsely, because it seems like there's so many false reports and the person who files report doesn't get penalized for it.
Yeah. So it's happening. I think Doug would probably be the next for the big hit. As I said,
Yeah.
I've been starting to get ripples of it too. I've always had Dan Slott against me as well, though. That's been a common one for years as well. So
Well,
I pissed him off years ago by using numbers and showing him wrong, and that put me in bad favor.
when Captain Cummings gets got banned, I just said, like when one head falls, two more shall take its place. Hail comics or hail the captain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was actually pretty fun.
Yeah,
He took that.
yeah. We're like Hydra. We can't disappear.
And just for anybody else here, that if you haven't noticed it or did on a tweet, I have joined that Discord that you guys all invited me to. I don't know how to use it at all yet. I'm working on it, but
well, I mean, I just created because I didn't want, I don't have a Patreon, so I didn't really want to set up one since I don't really have very many videos and my subscribers are pretty low. So I was going to wait till I get a Patreon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't have a Patreon either, so I'm doing all mine right now through VidMe, where people can, if they want to help me out, they can subscribe to my VidMe channel for like $1 a month, or even just give a tip. I might set up a Patreon later, but I'm not. My goal is, not to gouge everybody. So,
well, I like Patreon mainly because it seems like it's easier to set up the Hangouts and to post links, so you have specific people who can join in. So I just thought Discord was a good second way of having a group that you can invite specific people to.
I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I thought, I've been meaning to try it.
It's like a gaming. Yeah, it sounds like it's a lot of gamers use it, so it's like people can discuss and share links.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, with all this comic book Discord going on lately, if you could bring one industry professional back into the fold to hopefully right the ship, who would you take back?
Do they have to be alive?
Nah, let's say no, they don't have to be alive. Take anybody.
Okay. I would bring back Julius Schwartz, because a lot of people don't talk about Julius Schwartz. He's basically the man who revamped the Silver Age of comics for DC. Like, he basically brought in the Justice League and all of the Silver Age versions of the characters from the Golden Age back in the 50s and 60s. I feel like with him, he was fine. He wanted creativity, but I feel like he had a good standard. Like, he wanted a golden standard for the characters where, you couldn't, I don't know, shove them through the muck, but you also, obviously liked people with really interesting and new ideas, because he also was there when they were, when Denny O'Neil is his name, who did the Green Lantern, Green Arrow series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he also, he gave the go-ahead for the legendary Green Lantern, Green Arrow run.
Wow, really? And that was a great run.
Yeah, so he also helped bring back like Batman to his darker age when he gave the go-ahead for Dennis O'Neil's Batman run.
Ratbite Customs mentioned Chuck Norris. He can't fail. The only thing he's failed at is failing. Though he's not books, but actually, he did have a comic book though, didn't he? I mean, he had nothing to do with the writing of it or anything. It was on him. So,
but yeah, it sounds like because I feel like Julius Schwartz was kind of like, I wouldn't say he was the Stan Lee of DC, but he seemed like he was the editor who was pretty fine with new ideas, but also keeping all of the different writers in line, making sure that the quality is at least decent.
Now, Jim in the comments took the one out of my mouth that I was going to mention. And that's Jim Shooter. I think the Jim Shooter era from Marvel worked very good.
He was he the one behind Valiant, who started Valiant?
I think he might have, because when he left Marvel, I think he did found that he kept Marvel in line. He did pretty good with keeping them on deadlines and things. And back then, the continuity was there as well. I mean, right now it's a continuity mess.
I just googled it. Yeah, it's Jim Shooter and Bob Layton. They created Valiant.
Yeah. I think they let him go. I don't think he quit. I think they let him go eventually. But he was amazing for it. I think he was one of those people that was sort of hated while he was there because he was hard-nosed about stuff.
Well, yeah, but if you look at what's happened to comic books today, that hard-nosed stuff might actually be needed. You have to have people who will lay down the law, because the editors in chiefs, they're basically the enforcers. They have to be the leaders to make sure the writers are on time and doing what they're supposed to do.
Exactly. And and I watched an interview one time with Jim Shooter, and he even admitted himself he probably didn't have the super wonderful social skills to smooth things over, so he was hard
Yeah.
nosed, and that rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, well, yeah, because like it's interesting enough. Like with the New 52 in DC, their problem was people were complaining about the editors being very hard on and telling them to basically do it this way, which ticked off a lot of the writers. And then with SJW Marvel, it's like the exact opposite, where the editors are non-existent, and you have these very terrible stories that are being published.
Right, and that shows that there's a delicate balance. You have to give artists some freedom, but you have to keep them reined in as well. Because if you give them
Yeah,
too much freedom, they're going to cause problems.
yeah. So, I mean, would you agree that SJW Marvel is kind of like the New 52, but with identity politics? Because when I look at SJW Marvel, I keep thinking about the New 52, because the New 52 didn't have identity politics, or at least not as much as SJW Marvel did. And that's why people were able to criticize and hate on it, because the New 52 gets a lot of hate, and people don't get called, a racist, sexist, or misogynistic and all that stuff.
That's a great point, because a lot of people were vocal about the New 52 being terrible. And, pretty
Yeah.
much it bombed pretty bad. I mean, most of the books were canceled in a very short period of time. And you're
But
right.
it was financially successful, temporary.
Yeah, temporary, got that temporary influx. And then you look shortly after, I think like 48 of the 52 books were canceled in less than a year or something like that.
Yeah.
With that said, I think you brought up a point. They tried to interject a lot of differences and changes. And what I think they were smart about with Rebirth is they said, okay, well, what worked in the New 52? What did people like? And what did people want back? And they listened to the consumer base and merged the best of both things and provided a product that people were liking. So while New 52 might not have been a major success, it in my opinion, can be viewed as a stepping stone that led to. Without 52, would there have been Rebirth? No.
Yeah. Well, the issue about New 52 is that I personally did meet kids who actually got into comic books thanks to the New 52. Like, I used to teach at a co-op back when I lived in Connecticut for homeschoolers, and one of the kids there, who was a girl, she basically began talking about all the different superheroes. Like, she talked about the Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman, characters that up until then I'd never really heard kids really talk about. And she basically, spouted off all these different, almost encyclopedic knowledge of the different characters. And she mentioned that she read, in my opinion, actually work in getting new readers into the books to an extent.
Right. And outlook, I mean, now granted, Rebirth is not perfect. It has some flaws too, but for most part, people are really, really enjoying it, myself included. So
I really enjoy Rebirth. I think, it's definitely a great step in the right direction, because it's kind of taking the best of both worlds, because the Superman of Rebirth is the original Superman. And then you have like the Super Sons, which is a perfect story for, having a very, I don't know, like a almost kid-friendly-esque comic book that isn't super edgy and is fun, and the kids actually act like kids.
Yeah. I think one of the misses, in my opinion, and I haven't read much of it, so I'm sort of maybe opening my mouth where I shouldn't, is Batgirl. Partly because once again they make her like, oh, somebody cosplaying can wear this. I like the older version of that, and it almost seems like they've de-aged her as well.
Yeah,
in the story.
Yeah, basically they turned Batgirl into a teenage girl. That's basically it. They wanted to make her appeal to teenage girls, an audience that wasn't the main audience for the character over the years. So they basically did what SJW Marvel did, and she's taking selfies, holding phones. It's it's that pandering ridiculousness. So
I will say though, even in the New 52 Gail Simone run, she was 17. But you look at how the character is written maturity wise, it's like, what? It seems like a more mature 17 by far compared to what she's portrayed now, which is funny because she was moving in with a a person and everything else, a roommate and stuff at 17 was a little early, I thought, for that. But she didn't seem like 17, and now she does. So
yeah, but it's like, because Batgirl over the years has always been like a very mature character who was basically badass and kicked butt. But because they wanted to make her more appealing to teenage girls, they basically changed her character to do all this crazy selfie business, and
Yep.
It's just,
And it's been mentioned
unnecessary.
also.
You just make a new character in that case.
Right. And I do agree with you as well as others in the chat talking about Super Sons. That's a great book. If it's one that you're not reading and you're looking into picking up something new, definitely check out Super Sons. Definitely worthwhile.
Yeah.
For Marvel, my picks are, slim down. I was, just for the record, I did fully intend to pick up the new Captain America when it starts with Mark Waid, but now after that whole incident currently that's happened with him, which Mark Waid pretty much says, if you weren't agreeing with everything, that you're a part of a fringe, terrible group of people, I don't want to support that book. I don't even know if I'm going to pick it up the first issue just to review it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I always would love to write a Captain America series. I would basically kind of make him. I think I make him a bit like Paul Joseph Watson to an extent, because Paul Joseph Watson is kind of like, he's kind of in the center. I wouldn't, I think he defines himself as conservative, but he's not really far right as people are claiming. He's just kind of like, he knows the difference between like different forms of culture and what he believes is more, moral.
Right. As I was chatting, I was chatting with another gentleman earlier, not online or anything of that. I'm really interested to see how Captain America sales start and go on with currently when Mark Waid's on. If all this social media stuff that he's done is actually causing harm in the sales.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure you saw, but I made a comment on your latest video about SJW Marvel sales, and you were showing that site with the different sales figures for comic books.
Yes, that'd be Comic-Con.
Yeah, I noticed that the Super Sons is doing much better than the Amazing Spider-Man. It's like that awkward moment when the sons of Superman and Batman sell more comic books than Spider-Man.
Right. Well, and that's a huge problem because everybody here probably knows Spider-Man is the flagship character for Marvel. There is no way he should be selling 50-something thousand issues a month when it's the only book, of that ASM, and it's not being released twice a month. And there's the thing too, is you look, it should be doing around Batman numbers. It should compare to the competition around the same level.
I don't know. Do you feel like Spider-Man has become less of a flagship character due to the whole cinematic universe that Marvel created? Because when you think about it, it seems like over the years, Spider-Man, I didn't really see much of Spider-Man. He had his movies back in the early 2000s, but when Marvel started the cinematic universe, it's kind of like, I feel like he took a back seat. Like his movies weren't really that good, and I don't know. I feel like I didn't hear much from him. Whereas the Avengers got a lot of stuff.
I think they still want him to be. I mean, he's got his own independent movies, of course, too. I mean, Avengers don't. They're a group. I mean, well, I guess some of my Captain, they have individual movies as well, but Spider-Man's still a major character. Matter of fact, Spider-Man's one of those few characters that you can show almost any part of him anywhere and people will recognize him. You could just show, here's a glove. Who's it belong to? He's that recognizable. And therefore, when he's got his own movie, he's got tons of promotional products and materials always out, lamps and blankets and everything else. There is no reason for the character that big that's known around the world to be selling 50-something thousand copies an issue. And probably the only reason I personally think that it's got that many sales is because there's so many long-term Spider-Man readers and collectors that don't want a gap in their collection. I mean, if you took that out and said, "Oh, it won't be a gap in your collection," how many of them would still be reading that book?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse for that book not to sell even close to Batman. And then we had Peter Parker Spider-Man by Chip Zdarsky, and anybody here who's watching my latest review on one of those books on issue 4, you know how I feel about that.
Well, it's not good.
Oh gosh, no, it's terrible. It's garbage.
Oh yeah, because they turned Peter Parker into like what, Mark Zuckerberg tech giant or something like that.
Well, no, that's what Dan Slott did. The version that Sidarsky has, it's almost like a Marvel team up. It seems like it was always somebody else, but Peter is even more out of character, I think, in that book. They just made him out to be a complete idiot. At one point, he was writing Ironheart, the new Iron Man, Ironheart, to travel, and he's on top of her. Now think about this. She is a minor, and he's riding on top of her going, wee! I mean, that's stupid. It's just, they wrote Peter Parker like he's a complete moron, more stupid than what Dan Slott has.
Wait, were they flying in an open field where he can't use his web, or was he in a city environment?
City environment.
He's flying on Iron Man when he
Yep.
webs to swing around.
Because it's faster, but I mean, you know, it was just ridiculous. Even the Andy Kubert's art, it almost seems to me like he's phoning it in. He's like, "Oh, this is crap. I'm just gonna squiggle draw this."
Yeah, it's just when I heard when he turned Spider-Man into like a Mark Zuckerberg type of guy, I had problems with that because he's supposed to be, he's supposed to be a photographer, and I understand he's a genius, but I don't know.
I'm okay with him not staying that way. I really am.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was against the Mark Zuckerberg version of him, which is ridiculous. But I actually liked him in a couple transitions. I liked him when he had his book many years ago in Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. He had a book of photography, and he was going around the world in that series with that. And that was interesting. I enjoyed him as a teacher. I thought actually he fit really good as a teacher.
Well, see, I guess me personally, it's like, I've always had a problem with Spider-Man kind of being like he can't pay his rent despite the fact he's a genius and he's a physicist. His trouble getting a job and work seemed kind of I just thought it was kind of unrealistic.
Right. Well, I think the interesting part about that is what happened was he always had to do the right thing, and that got in the way of his job, so he couldn't keep a job, and I can understand that too. Like you're saying, guys that smart, you should be able to make some money. So
it's just that's the reason why I liked about Superman was that he, I feel like in this sense he was more realistic because he showed that you could balance your work life with your hero life. Mm-hmm. Which to me people say is unrealistic, but I actually think it's very realistic because many people, especially today, have to multitask. It's a very common practice. But also, it's just, I don't know, for me, it's like them turning him into Mark Zuckerberg was like going the exact opposite way, which didn't really make it better. I like something in between. Like, I want him to have a realistic job, so he's not like complaining about he can't pay his rent, which I thought was pretty dumb. But I don't want him to be like, oh, I'm a rich millionaire, so I'm like the new Tony Stark.
Right. But then that's the interesting thing. By him being, and somebody mentioned in the comments, by being Spider-Man, it really doesn't allow him to hold a regular job. It just gets in the way. As I said, I liked him as a teacher. I thought it was good fitting, but yet it added other challenges, about being at school, getting, having bruises on his face while at school too. But if for anybody that hasn't watched it, if you wonder where I'm coming from on that as a character, look at my flashbacks from the stash I did with Amazing Spider-Man number 33, where I compared it to Slott's Amazing Spider-Man right now, and that's probably why I was so hard on Chip Zdarsky's Peter Parker Spider-Man issue 4 when I reviewed it, because I just got done reading really good Spider-Man, and I read this atrocity that doesn't match Peter Parker at all. I mean, it was almost in the blow up pile. I mean, it just barely eked out from getting shot in one of my videos. So,
yes. Well, I like to write because I want to try writing superhero novels actually, and I always had this idea that if a character has a pretty good power like Spider-Man, I don't see him being poor. Like most of my superheroes aren't really poor; they can be middle class or working class people. Or maybe even higher class. But if you're poor, you have to have, some good excuse when you have superpowers to be poor and stuff. Because Spider-Man has some really amazing powers. Like he's a really powerful character.
Absolutely. And you look in the last decade, he's not written like that anymore. I mean, the classic issue where he pummeled Firelord, I mean, that was awesome. He's taken down, fought with the X-Men and made him look like a joke. And now it's like he can't do anything on his own at all without getting help. He's a fraction of the character he once was.
It sounds like they turned him into a sidekick, which is what Stan Lee was against, which is why he created Spider-Man.
Yeah, it definitely, he's just not in character, and now that there leads to part of this other whole shift that we were talking about too. The classic characters that people grew up with and instead of keeping them and introducing new characters, they brought in these new characters at the expense of the legacy characters, and everyone's so much better.
Well, here's the weird thing is back in the old days, like some of the greatest comic book characters of all time, like Superman, Spider-Man, and a couple others, the publishers had no faith in these characters. Like they were certain that they were going to be gone after a single issue, which is why they didn't try to push them. They say, oh, we're just going to put them in this column or this, issue, and they're probably just going to be gone after that. But then they take off, and then they make a lot of money. Like Spider-Man, no one had faith in Spider-Man when he first appeared. Same with the Superman. Like everyone said no, that Superman wasn't going to work. But DC took a chance on it, and now he's basically one of the biggest cultural icons in America.
Exactly. And that's great. Yeah, like Spider-Man just thrown in the back, an issue that they were going to cancel.
Yeah, but with Marvel today and even DC, they're so hard at pushing these characters, trying to basically force people to like them. It's like the exact opposite of the trailblazers from decades ago.
I have to give props to Mr. Batman in the comments section. He brought up a great point that Peter, he could be an online teacher for a university. That would work great with the schedule. That's great. It keeps him hip and techie.
Today he would. I feel like he would definitely work from home or just do something that could basically, he makes some time. Like today, entrepreneurship is so huge today, and there's so many options for people thanks to the internet that I feel like he can definitely work a job and still be a superhero. I mean, nowadays his photography, he could make thousands upon thousands of dollars with his photography thanks to online, Snapchat and all that stuff.
Right, and that would be a great way to make him fit the millennial generation. I mean,
people always ask, like if you look in the comics, everyone asks him, "How the heck do you get these pictures?" Because he's using his spider powers to get these crazy shots.
Absolutely. Yeah. So another interesting thing about online communication, I'm going to give props to Tom Brevoort. I mean, usually he's quite the dick online too. But I did send him a question that he actually responded to without blocking me, and that shocked me. I asked him, how do you think we could bridge the gap between the consumer and the content creators currently? And one of the things he says, well, we could maybe get off the internet, quit spending so much time on the internet and focus on work. I was like, yes, that good answer.
I've been trying to read more now since I got a ebook reader, which has actually helped a lot because they say reading really helps with writing. So I'm definitely trying to get to spend less time on the internet. Although I'm trying to be on Twitter just to build my Twitter following because I feel like it will help build the community and make YouTube videos and all that stuff.
Why don't you give a shout out to tell everybody what your YouTube site is in case they just joined recently and don't know it?
I can, it's basically my YouTube channel is Billy Dank Lore of the Memes, but I also have a link to my YouTube channel on my Twitter account, which is basically just Billy Cool, and the address to my Twitter account is basically @TheObnoxious's.
Okay, excellent. So everyone catch that. That way you can know to check his stuff out.
Well, okay. Well, if you mind putting a link to them in your in the description of you when we're done, because that would also be easier. Yeah.
I will surely do that. So everybody, I will do that. It'll probably be a little bit after because it's they take a while before they become a live video for people just stream. So what I'll have you do is I'll have you PM me all the links and I'll make sure I put them in the info bar for you.
Yeah. Okay. But one of the things I really don't like about modern comics that I've noticed that both Marvel and DC have been doing a lot lately is they don't allow characters to have relationships anymore. I mean, even some of the gay characters aren't even having relationships. I mean, what I mean is it's not like what it used to be where like there's no you don't have that family aspect anymore. Like a lot of the DC families have gone, and Marvel characters, their relationships seem to have been screwed over too. Like Iceman can't be with Kitty anymore because they made him gay. And then what else? Like Barry Allen is not with Iris West anymore, which they've been together for decades.
Well, they just
they
killed Wally. Sorry.
They killed Wally. I mean, I hope he comes back because I feel like that would just be a backstab to kill him.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think it's just a shock because they just brought him back and things like that, and people really want him just to do that. I think it's just a quick shock tactic. I think he'll be back quick. And Rat Bike brought up another point too. The current artwork in Marvel, for the most part, has been just atrocious. And I can look past art most of the time. It's a really good story, but you've got the combination of not a good story and bad art. I mean, it's just not good at all.
Some New 52 issues also had some bad art, but they had a good story. Some of them had a good story, but the artwork was kind of not very great.
Right. But I would say predominantly the majority of the artwork at Marvel, majority, not all, but majority is not good right now. You know,
Well, that's because they're hiring very like low talented people, I guess.
right. And I agree. And I don't mean to be mean because I'm sure they could do better than I can now. That's for sure. Well, maybe not Squirrel Girl, but you know, it's just it's very cheaply done, and or that could possibly be too a reflection of how much pay is being given. Because, for example, if you look at the Squirrel Girl artist, if you look at some of the other art for that artist has done some good work, but this stuff is nothing even close to that.
Well, yeah. It's weird because Marvel is now owned by Disney, which is arguably one of the richest corporations in the world, and they apparently have trouble getting the best artistic talent that you can get.
Yeah, my thoughts is they're probably not actually looking at that much. They're probably not handling that division. It's just, okay, this is as long as the money comes in, we're going to be okay with it, not looking hard.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I think because like Marvel Comics and Marvel Entertainment are two separate entities, right?
Yeah.
I know, and I kind of wish that they were all under the same thing because then they would all share the money. Because then you would have more marketing done for the comic books, and then you could also have more money left over to pay the creators. And
right, and better information shared between segments. That way, the product matches what the consumer wants. I mean, if you go and see a Captain America movie, and you want to be able to see a Captain America comic book, and you pick it up, and it's Sam Wilson, it's a disconnect right off the bat. Another person mentioned Iron Fist has some of the best art of any current ongoing Marvel comic. I agree, and the reflection against that too is look at Iron Fists, the plural. That book is terrible art. So you go, one is great, one's bad.
Iron Fist and Iron Fist?
Yeah, there's an Iron Fist book, and that's good, and there's Iron Fists, and that book is crap.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, people have been trying to call Iron Fist racist. Because the whole fiasco with the Netflix, which is part of the whole Comics Gate, which, is another...
Right. And that
it's like another shots fire.
Right. It's like, do you not realize who the racist is? If you think he has to be an Asian, you're the racist, Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like, that sounds very stereotypical, actually, to basically say, oh, the martial arts character has to be Asian.
Right. I mean, that's how he started in the comic books, was a white male, and that's the way I think he should be.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted, they can just get Shang-Chi, right? Isn't Shang-Chi Asian?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's pretty dang awesome. Just bring him into the show then. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, it's basically, it's like, it'd be like, so they get mad and call everyone who complains about, them casting, like, say, a black main character for like a very European centric setting and call them racist. They call the people who criticize them racist, but then they get mad at Iron Fist being white because he knows martial arts. Yeah.
I'm at the point where I think these SJW people just find something to complain about to get attention. That's all they want. If there isn't anything really to complain about, they will make up something.
Well, this is going back to the Paul Joseph Watts video I mentioned. See, his theory is that because the SJWs haven't been able to go into music and art to really get their frustrations out, they switch to identity politics, which is why they seem to be complaining about some of the most ridiculous things, because they don't contribute to music and artwork, so they don't have anything to vent their youthful anger.
Put them all in a pit together. Let's let that anger out.
Yeah.
That might have
they probably end up beating each other up, like, Antifa
that's the point.
Beating up because you saw the clip. Did you see that Antifa member beat up like a Black Lives Matter member?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they go into a fist fight, and one Antifa guy got assaulted because his fellow Antifa member thought he was a neo-Nazi due to his haircut.
Oh man, you gotta laugh at the stupidness.
Well, it's like Russia. It's like the Russian Revolution all over again, where they overthrow the monarchy and then they get into a civil war, and the country falls into Bolshevikism, and there's a famine, and millions of people die.
Yep. Have you seen Steven Crowder's recent video where they infiltrated Antifa?
I think I only saw the video with like that where they show clips of Not Gay Jared undercover. I don't think I've seen the latest one.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty darn scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, oh, Pete, those people are crazy. And yet there is a lot of people in Marvel and things that absolutely, as well as other ones, that support it wholeheartedly. They think Antifa's Mags, I think, is thrown out there that she's an Antifa supporter.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well,
why am I
yeah,
not surprised?
Antifa is basically fulfills all the rights to be a terrorist organization.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, people need to realize that ISIS, they believe themselves to be freedom fighters as well. To be doing the right thing,
Right.
but they're still a terrorist organization because of what they do.
So, how do you feel now then? This is another interesting thing. Most Marvel people and things hate Bleeding Cool, but now all of a sudden, Bleeding Cool is like, oh, we're Marvel's #1 supporter. You got fans are all evil. How do you like that turn?
I've only recently followed Bleeding Cool just because of Captain Cummings, because I never really followed many comic book websites.
Okay.
Because like I knew comic book resource, if that's what
Oh,
I didn't like that at first because it was very biased towards Marvel and seemed to not really like DC. So yeah, I guess I never really followed too many sites for her comic books, except
right.
for Comic Vine, because Comic Vine is where I went to see all those crazy versus debates.
Mhm.
Like basically, they had to ban all DBZ versus comic books just because it got so heated to see who would win between Superman and Goku.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it's banned. Like you cannot have anime versus comic books debates, I think, anymore because it just got so heated.
Well, and the problem with those, and that's another reason I think a lot of these YouTube sites and things have been popping up. These channels have, because if you look, pretty much all of those, like your Comic Vine, your CBR, and everything, they're all pretty much nothing but shills for the comic book companies. They're going to give good reviews. If they don't give good reviews, they know they're not going to get the artists and things to do interviews and stuff, and it's all about the clicks. And so they will allow the writers and things on there to be completely terrible and mean to the customer base because they want to give them that extra leeway because they don't want to get them mad.
Well, yeah, that's basically why Captain Cummings called it Complegate, because if you look at it, the similarities between this and Gamergate are very big, where you have these websites that are catering towards these people and seem to not really care much about the quality of the comic books. They just care about the political message and coddling the creators.
Right. If you look back, I've been calling it a comic books gate for a while now. Actually, probably quite a bit even before this started. I said, I think there's a correlation here, just like we had in the video game industry with the websites. Now, we didn't have somebody, as far as I know, sleeping with somebody for good write-ups, but we definitely had, you get good reviews, and we'll give you interviews and that kind of stuff to get the clicks. And it was definitely there, because if you actually followed a lot of them too, you'll see like they'll give a book good reviews, and all of a sudden maybe they'll give a book like a C review, and they really pumped that up and bull crap that to get it to a C review, and then they just stop reviewing that book. It's like, okay, we can't really say much good about this, so we're just not going to review it.
Yeah, I think the term comic book skate popped into my mind. I think when I think female Thor became a thing, like when the whole that Thor book where she like the whole Israel reference.
Oh yes, unsolicited.
Yeah, it's like apparently Odin's father knows about Israel, and it's like a whole lot of misogyny.
Yeah, which is really shame.
Yeah,
because I think the character design for Jane Foster Thor is really good. It's just stupid that she's Thor.
Yeah, but it's. I know, it's just like what? Yeah, I just don't get why they had to get rid of Thor. I mean, have they even explained why he's unworthy? Because it seems like they still haven't even explained it.
I think they did say why, but it was something really short and stupid, if I recall. Okay. I can't remember the exact particulars.
I know there was.
Don't get me wrong. I was 100% against that change as well, and I think the book has been written like trash. I'm just saying that her character design, how she looks, actually, she looks like a pretty cool character. If they would have just treated her as her own character, much like they did Thunderstrike.
Yeah, but seeing is, here's my point: is there are already characters. If you wanted like a female equivalent of Thor, they could have just gone and brought in his daughter from the future. Like his daughter is a badass, and she's really cool. Like she basically has female Thor's design with her own little twist to it. You know what I'm talking about? I think his name's Thorin.
Or they could have also used Spiff.
I saw Next Did you see the movie Next Avengers: Heroes of Tomorrow?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so it's if they wanted a female equivalent of Thor, they could have brought his daughter in, which I thought would have been a lot better, because then you could have had, better writing opportunities, and you could have also had like a father-daughter relationship, which is something that is almost non-existent in comic books. That could definitely.
And yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. As I said, when I said character design, I just meant the look of the character. Everything else.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I just voicing my opinion on the whole female Thor.
Right.
Yeah,
otherwise I think everything is terrible. Yep, she starred in MC2 absolutely, and that's why I said I was a big fan of Thunderstrike. Because when they brought him in, you knew Thor was coming back. He was a replacement, and it wasn't just like, oh, I'm super powerful. I mean, he was learning the ropes, and it was a hard run for him. And then afterwards they spun him off into his own character, Thunderstrike. And so he didn't have the name of Thor then anymore. Even when he was posing as Thor, he was trying to not let anybody know he was somebody different, because he was filling in for him, and that was well done. Whereas that was, oh, I'm Thor now. And I mean, it's like the Thor was the guy's name. That was one of the biggest rubs there. It's like, that's stupid. You get Captain America's shield, your name doesn't become Steve Rogers Captain America, But that's part of the Marvel problem right now. They don't look at the character, they look at the uniform.
Also, but the thing is, but wasn't there already a replacement for Captain America like years ago?
Captain America's been replaced several times.
Yeah, so I don't know, because I mean, I guess none of them obviously were African Americans. So I guess they were trying to build a diversity quota. So
right, they did do a story years ago, like a mini series of the Black Captain America kind. I haven't read it. I haven't.
I think he was old.
So, exactly, but that was a long time back, and in the back, and but he's been replaced by a couple characters, over the years, and those were short term, and I think everybody knew, with those, it wasn't going to last forever. But when they sell it like it's going to last forever, but even then, like I mentioned here with the U.S. agent, they never quite measured up to Steve Rogers Captain America. But Marvel does everything they can now to say, well, the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, is so much better than Steve Rogers. And that pisses people off, long-term reach. And even ones like me that were one of the few, I think, back in the day to actually really like the Falcon before the movies. So.
Yeah. Well, my problem with Sam Wilson's Captain America is that he's become like every other Marvel character who all have the same political opinions. Like, I always view Captain America as being kind of like, the opposite, someone who has more conservative values, someone who's from the past, who offers an alternate viewpoint.
Right.
Whereas Sam Wilson is basically part of the crowd. He's just preaching to the choir.
Right. It's funny that you mention it, because you hear so many people, well, Captain America is an SJW, has always been. And I'm telling you, they're absolutely wrong. I'm still working on a video on it. I'm writing it right now. I've got like 3/4 of it written out and collected the material, because I'm going back and showing they cherry pick certain incidents out of the Captain America history and panels. But what none of them do is go back to the beginning. So I went back to who the creators were, what their history was like, what their thoughts and beliefs were, how they put that on paper. And then I'm gonna have to jump some, because I don't have the very first appearance of Captain America. I don't have that issue. I don't have those timely comics, but I do have, before I have the Tales of Suspense when they brought him back. I have the Avengers when he started. I have Captain America 100 and on. So when they took it out of Tales of Suspense and changed it back just to Captain America. So this is much more predating the stuff that they always use to say he's a liberal SJW. And I'm also not going to say, well, I'm also, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying is like, basically any superhero from like essentially the Silver Age and before can't really be SJWs, because they've all been in situations that would have had SJWs frothing at the mouth in rage.
Right. And that's the thing. They all claim they are, but he's not. And his history shows otherwise. But also bear that in mind. I'm not saying he's a conservative either. I'm saying he's a firm believer in individual rights in the Constitution.
Yeah. Like,
he's not political per se. He is individual rights in the Constitution, not right-wing conservative.
I don't know. My view of Captain America is he's either a classical liberal or he's a libertarian or something, or constitutional. he's a constitutionalist in some way, but he might be classical liberal or he could be libertarian. Just one of those, doesn't follow the state blindly, but he's not going to basically be like, F America, we're so horrible. He's someone who definitely believes in his country.
Right. And that's why I said he's a constitutional believer at heart. And if anything, if I had to pick a political orientation for him, it'd probably be not liberal, I'm sorry, libertarian.
Libertarian.
Yep.
I still feel him as a bit of a conservative. I don't know. I feel like if I wrote Captain America, I would write him as a conservative. Not super conservative, but he would definitely have conservative opinions because he is from the 1940s. So
exactly, and that's part of it too. The individual rights. If I had to skew it one way or other, I'd skew more conservative. But you look at just what's in the Constitution and individual rights. That, to be fair, does follow more of a conservative view in the first place.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, nowadays I don't really use the term liberal as like an insult for SJWs anymore, because I believe that there's a difference between liberals and progressives. Like I call them progressives, or I just call them socialists because that's what they are.
Well,
because I'm also a firm believer that there's a difference between being a progressive and into progress. Like progress implies technology, economy, and other stuff, whereas progressive, it's like they don't really care about that mostly. They mostly care about identity politics and groups of people and stuff. Yeah, which in my opinion, doesn't really care. I view that as different from progress.
I agree with you too. When I say a liberal, I don't mean a bad person or a far left nut wing at all. It's a matter of fact, I've been expressing my views a lot of my videos. There's the very far left, the fringe left, and the far right, the fringe right, that both really are causing a lot of problems, and they don't represent the most of their bases. As I've said this to a lot of people, especially on Twitter, when they come at me and everything, I was like, it's like, you realize my website is also 50% ran by a liberal. It's a liberal and a more conservative, me. That way it does have more of a balance and perspective of views. And even my website partner, I love this because people always come at me like this. And I always shut them down. It's like, ask him yourself. He hates these books because there's too much of this crap, and none of them will ever do it. They're always, your bullcrap doesn't exist. It's like, really? Just go right to the website and ask him. Problem solved.
Well, it's like, because like I said, like if I ran DC, I would definitely still keep Green Arrow as a very far left character because that's part of his character. But I would also like to pair him up with someone like Hawkman. Like, I always thought Green Arrow and Hawkman are a great pair because Hawkman is an authoritarian. He's far right and authoritarian, and Green Arrow is like basically a very far left socialist.
Right.
So they hate each other. But it's really fun to see them, go back and forth. Like, Hawkman calls him a hippie. Green Arrow calls him like a fascist or something.
Yep. And I like the Green Arrow character, and I loved him paired with Hal Jordan because once again we have that both sides.
Well, Hal Jordan to me seems like he's a moderate conservative. He's not as hardcore as people think. Like Hawkman is the hardcore guy. They're like. He's like the exact Green Arrow on the left. Like there's I don't think it's an actual comic book, but there's a meme that's like a comic book where Hawkman calls him a left-wing prick, and Green Arrow calls Hawkman a fascist D-bag.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I do agree with you. Definitely, Hawkman's much more of an authoritarian, most definitely. Yeah. So those are very big polar opposites.
So for me, it's like if I was to choose between the two pairs and stuff, I'd rather go with Green Arrow and Hawkman because Hawkman is someone who, unlike Green Lantern, would definitely be very into challenging Green Arrow's opinions and beliefs. Very firmly, he's very unapologetic. Whereas Green Lantern is kind of a nice guy. He still is kind of
Crumble Point brought up
an F basically. Yeah.
Crumble Point brought up a good point too. Aquaman as well. That would be an interesting fit.
Aquaman. Oh yeah, because I think Green Arrow did at one point criticize Aquaman for having a monarchist government. So Green Arrow is kind of like that guy who basically is telling people.
So since
that he should do this thing,
since we're talking about Hawkman stuff, why don't we do our other shift? The other point we wanted to talk about today was television shows, with all the current superhero television shows out there. And I've talked with I Love Comics Engeltine a few times about this too. We both, I know this one gets a lot of stuff thrown at us. We watch, and I even had a hard time with this, just to preface it ahead of time myself, Gotham. We watch Gotham.
Oh yeah.
And I will say I had a hard time at first because every time I see it, it's like, okay, this does not make sense. This is not Batman. This guy would be old and decrepit by the time Bruce Wayne turns into Batman. This is not how that character is.
Yeah.
But you have to go, this is not continuity. This is not continuity.
Yeah, but basically Gotham is essentially the Batman Smallville, because Smallville did that same thing where it's like Superman doesn't even have the suit on, but he encounters Connor Kent, Superboy, which continuity-wise makes absolutely no sense. He encounters characters that he should not be encountering at this point in time in his life. But again, it's the
MC Crusader
has a lot of fans. Yeah,
MC Crusader asked, is Gotham still on? Absolutely, it is. And matter of fact, he's now transitioning more into Batman. He's starting to be the Cape Crusader fighting in the streets. He's it's really good right now.
Ninja character that you see in like the early before he becomes Batman. Yeah.
Well, he's wearing a black costume now, and he just got armor, and he just got a mask. So,
well, yeah. Well, in lots of Batman mythos, that's what he starts out as before he actually develops the cape now, and he starts off like basically like a very typical ninja.
Right. So they're moving in that direction now there. That's pretty cool. I would definitely, I check it out. One of my favorite characters on the show is Bullock. I like Bullock on that show. So
okay. Yeah, I never really watched Gotham. I watched a couple episodes, but I'm not a big Batman fan, so I guess it didn't really interest me when I heard the pitch.
Okay. Are you watching any superhero shows in particular right now?
Not really, actually. I do want to see I don't have sci-fi, but I do want to check out that Krypton show, because that looks like that could be really fun, because they recently cast for Adam Strange, so he apparently is appearing in the in the Krypton in the TV show, so which is set in the distant past.
I will say I try to watch as many of them as I can. Probably the biggest letdown to me right now is Supergirl, because I think it had so much potential. I mean, the actor
then they like butchered it with some SJW rhetoric, and it was just
all SJW. I mean, and it's not subtle.
Yeah, okay.
It's baseball bat to your cranium every episode.
Yeah, and like I knew. See, for me, when they cast Jimmy Olsen, those were the red flags. Like I knew I wasn't going to like the show, because
he's one of the high points of the show. He does not match Jimmy Olsen at all. He should not have been Jimmy Olsen, but he's it's like a great character on the show.
Okay, but see, I just can't forgive him for that, because like if you're going to make him black, then at least get a geeky black guy, someone who actually fits Jimmy Olsen's type of character. But no, it's like they turned him into that sexual black man and stuff. Basically, that's what it is. It's like they wanted to basically play on the porn fantasy of basically a white woman with a black man who's like big, strong, and a hunk and stuff, and that's what it was. And it's stupid. It's a total stereotype.
Right, but
that's basically
his character is fantastic. He plays the Guardian on it. He's just a good all-around character. The whole thing is not Jimmy Olsen.
But why call him Jimmy Olsen in the first place? It's like, again, it's like having it's like basically saying, oh, my name's Hal Jordan, I become basically the Flash or whatever.
Yeah.
I completely break character and become like Nightwing or something like that. It just no. That's bad. That's bad writing. That's just disrespectful to the character,
I agree 100%. They should have introduced him as another character because he's great in it. And then the actress playing Supergirl, I think, is a great fit. As I said, though, it's just the writing is absolutely atrocious. Everything in it is, you should be an SJW. So it's making it hard to watch. I'd hate to be Dean Cain right now working for that show, because every time he goes there to work, he's probably thinking, who hates me today?
Oh yeah, so did that new X-Men show come out? Because I've been seeing trailers for that new X-Men. I think it's Gifted.
I have not seen it yet, so I couldn't tell you.
But if you're yes, they have an X-Men show.
Yep. I've seen the advertisements. I thought it looked good, and one I'm really waiting on is The Punisher on Netflix.
Yeah, I don't watch any Netflix shows really.
I'm looking forward to The Punisher on there. I was one of the few that liked Iron Fist though too, so I'm a huge Iron Fist fan. Granted,
Iron Fist got like a lot of negative reviews because of political reasons. So yeah.
Well, and it got some that were very warranted too. The character they hired, he wasn't really fantastic in the role. He doesn't look the part physically either. But in his defense, I think he had like 15 days to prep for it. So,
Yeah.
and in the second one, in the Defenders, I thought he was better in that. So I'm really hoping they give him more of a chance. So, you know, look at it. Crumble Point, you liked it too. Thank you for somebody else liking Iron Fist but me. Okay. But I am biased, though. I am a huge Iron Fist fan. So the one I thought they messed up the most on was probably Luke Cage, because I'm a big Luke Cage fan as well. And it's like they neutered him. He doesn't have the hard streak that he has, the anger. He just doesn't have it in that show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and that's one of the things that made it great. You had his anger and you had the more low key, you know, Iron Fist, and they're just from different walks of life, and it just makes a great story. I really hope at least they do Luke Cage Iron Fist show on Netflix with those two.
Yeah, I don't know. See, there's some characters I feel like they should really invest more into doing animated TV shows that aren't just for kids, like they're for everyone.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that works better. Like for me, I would love to see an animated show of either the Doom Patrol or Challengers of the Unknown, because those characters, they have so many wild story ideas and possibilities. Because I'm not sure if you heard of the Challengers of the Unknown.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, they're like before the Fantastic Four, but without superpowers. So they basically, they fought Cthulhu entities, they fought aliens, they fought demons, they fought undersea monsters. Literally all of those crazy sci-fi, supernatural things that you could encounter. They encountered them and basically used like their smarts and wits to overcome them.
Right. And John Loomis has been hitting like crazy in live chat. I hear you, man. I would go ape crap for Heroes for Hire on Netflix. That would be just
awesome.
That's
you've heard of that one?
Oh, well, I mean, I heard of Heroes for Hire. Absolutely.
It's like
Heroes
a DC.
for Hire is Marvel. Heroes for Hire is Marvel. That's Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and what they did is they created an organization.
Okay.
And
sorry, I was thinking Dial A for Heroes. Sorry, there's like Dial H for Heroes, because they like DC have their own equivalent of that, where it was like a company that employed superheroes and people could just call them.
Right. And Crumble Point, I agree with you 100%. It made no sense that Danny was the angry one. He shouldn't have been. He has to keep his chi in check, and that was part of the fun. You would get Danny Rand would look and assess the situation and plan it out, and Luke Cage would just run in and bust in. It mixed that up a little bit on there. But it is what it is. Yeah, so you're going back to some older ones that a lot of these people out here probably haven't heard of.
Yeah. Well,
which is awesome.
Well, yeah, because I'm not sure if you saw the DC Nation shorts that they used to do on Cartoon Network. Yeah, there were some really good ones, like The Shade, The Changing Man. I could see that being a really interesting show. The Doom Patrol show was really good, and basically, what else was really good? Shanghai Batman was really good. Like that was an amazing short. And then they also had what was the other one? I'm trying to remember. There were lots of others, but yeah, basically Shanghai Batman was definitely one of the highlights of them.
You brought up some great points too about the cartoons, and I talk about this a bit as well. It seems like Marvel keeps thinking they have to pedal to the lowest denominator mentally and as well with age. For example, if you look at the new Spider-Man cartoon, it's written really for low education points. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It doesn't hit an adult.
Yeah, it's like with Teen Titans Go, because Teen Titans Go is a lot like it too.
But you look at, if you ask most of the people that are like 20 something or 30 something, what brought them into comic books? It's stuff like Batman the Animated Series, the Spider-Man 90s series, the X-Men 90s series. Those were not written for like a 2-year-old mentality. Kids like that stuff too. They want good stories.
Yeah, I get a bit of flack for liking X-Men Evolution, but I actually really enjoyed it.
Evolution was good.
Yeah, because I liked it because it separated X-Men out from the mainstream Marvel universe, because I was one of those people that never really liked the X-Men being in the main universe because it just didn't make sense. There were so many X-Men that it just felt glutted and unnecessary. Like, just give them their own universe because there's already enough mutants to warrant that.
Definitely a ton.
Yeah. So that's what I thought Evolution was. Evolution kind of like, it was set in its own universe, kind of like the movies, but it still had, like, I don't know, the X-Men comic books like quality a little more than a live action film because it's animated.
But
it's also like in high school. It's like a high school X-Men.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. I had a Monday off with my daughter. I had a father-daughter day, and we watched together the Spectacular Spider-Man, and she loved it. She does not like the new one. My boy, who I call him Little Frugal, he absolutely hates the new Spider-Man. He didn't care for Ultimate Spider-Man either.
Yeah.
He liked the 60s Spider-Man, and he liked the 90s series Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, it's like they don't need to aim so low with the kids. Make a cartoon that both the parents and the kids can
Oh yeah.
enjoy together, and then you've got a
Oh, yeah,
huge win.
Well, yeah, because I remember, because as a kid, I grew up on the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, and that was incredibly dark. I mean, it was very dark. Like, they handled some very dark subjects in that series. Like, there was violence. There was an ongoing and creative storyline. It was just really well put together, and it was, pretty shocking as a kid, but it was very great to watch.
Another one John mentioned, Spider-Man's Amazing Friends. Absolutely. Little Frugal likes that too as well. I haven't got to have my daughter see that with me yet. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they don't have to be in super high caliber of intelligence, but you don't have to de-age them and make them stupid.
Yeah, I really wish that I really hope that they begin, because there has been talks that, like, I think DC and Marvel might go to Japan to start producing some animated series. I really kind of hope they do find some way to start producing hand-drawn or 2D animated series more through some way, because I feel like it would definitely help. And they should also look to streaming online, because then, you can reach a bigger audience, and you aren't hindered by basically all the censors, or
Right.
the annoyingness of trying to, like, have to go to specific target audiences through Cartoon Network or whatever TV channel.
Yeah, the Nerd Wonder mentions this. They think kids are dumb and thus don't put in the effort into their work like DC does. And I think he's absolutely right. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
look at the Justice League show, that created so many fans for new characters that weren't into it before. I mean, that's why Jon Stewart got so popular as the Green Lantern.
well,
He was done really good in that.
Well, I've been hearing good stuff about Justice League Action.
Justice League Action, is that the new one?
I think that's the newest one, because they do spread in some references to DC lore. Like, it's not.
I haven't seen that one yet, so I can't comment on that one.
It's kind of like it's a little more kid friendly from the original Justice League show, from the from the early 2000s. But it's still, it's like they definitely seem to, know what they're doing.
Okay. My next one I want to try to do is I want to sit down with my little girl and try Earth's Mightiest Heroes with her and see if she likes that. So a good Avengers cartoon. See if she digs that. It's sort of like an experiment. I want to see, are kids gravitating towards the dumb cartoons, or, but granted, it's only my two to compare with, so it's not going to be an accurate study of any means whatsoever. But my thought is this. I really, truly think this, that kids, no matter what their age, will enjoy a good story. It doesn't have to be dumbed down, because that's what we enjoyed. We enjoyed a good story. We didn't have to have Peter Parker be the same age as us. If you were a kid and they were portraying Peter Parker in college, you didn't have a problem with that.
Oh yeah.
So I just don't see that disconnect there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would just like for animation to, to basically try to tell good stories, and to not basically follow the same old tired formula of being incredibly stupid.
Right. It was so much media and things, and so many ways to get new market and get their attention. I think they're failing at it horrendously.
Well, it does have to do with corporate greed, because I'm a capitalist. I support capitalism, but I do recognize that there is corporate greed involved, and I always have I have this saying that if corporate fascism does come to America, it's going to be in the name of diversity and inclusion, because that's basically what they've been monopolizing. They're trying to monopolize the internet nowadays, and they may succeed just because people are so upset over diversity and identity politics and all that stuff.
Well, as much as people want to talk about, it's about the art, you have to realize if there isn't a dollar that's going to be brought in from the art, there will be no art. You still have to survive. So money has to be made. And that's just, I'm a capitalist evidently as well, because I believe in it. You have to have it. If people don't strive to get something, nobody's going to strive, and we will all fail.
Well, these people are also socialists, so they just think that's evil capitalism.
Somebody mentioned too the Brave and the Bold Batman series. I think I've seen the majority of those. I don't think I've seen the last season though. I haven't been able to find that yet.
Yeah, I heard it was really good. I didn't see it either, but
I didn't like it as much as some of the other Batman ones that there's been, but it had an interesting spin. It was more like going back to the 60s with Batman. You just had to watch it as a quirky, fun thing. And if you could do that, it was good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I do like that they really did a good job by giving characters that don't get as much prominence in the DC realm at all some more attention. Right? And that's brilliant marketing right there, too. How is somebody going to grow to like these characters if they never see them?
Yeah, I would love to see I'd love to see a Batmite TV show.
Crumpoint said the Batman. I'm going to get on that subject in a second. The Batman actually got me back into Batman. Yeah, okay, that Batman one was different. Now you said Batmite you'd want to see.
Yeah, you know the fifth dimensional. Yeah, because I just thought it would be awesome because think of it kind of like maybe Freakazoid or those old '90s cartoons that were kind of like a joke on those superhero characters or
absolutely.
It'd be kind of like that where like it's like it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon, but the character's like a fanboy of Batman.
Whenever I see Batmite, I also think of Mr. Mxyzptlk, if that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
both just off the wall crazies.
I actually have Superman Batman World's Funniest Comics where basically they get into like a interdimensional battle that wipes out like the DC multiverse. It's pretty funny, yeah.
Another character I'd like to see get a little more attention is Plastic Man. I think he's a pretty interesting character to get a lot of fun. I mean, he hasn't had his own series since the 60s.
Both him and Lobo were planning to have their own series, but they unfortunately got canceled.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, I know Lobo was planning to have his own series, but it just got the plug got pulled. It was like around
I'm not going to talk any crap on. I won't talk any crap on Lobo. Last time I did that, I got lots of crap thrown at me in the comment section.
Oh, you don't like Lobo?
Well, no, I don't dislike him. I think he's an okay character. I just said, I think he's like a knockoff of Wolverine, and boy, did that blow up a storm.
Well, that is the joke. I mean, he is meant to actually be, like based off of Wolverine instance. Like he's a parody of those hardcore characters. He's like, he's a joke character. Like he's a parody of all those hardcore 80s rock band, the metalheads and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I took it.
He's like a biker dude.
It was DC's answer to Wolverine.
Well, yeah, I mean, he essentially is a joke mainly on anti-heroes. I think, that was the intention of his character, was kind of to parody all those anti-heroes.
Yeah.
As well as biker dudes, yeah.
So I did not mean he was a bad character. Any way whatsoever. Do not see, look there. There it is in the comments. I know I'm not talking crap about it, Denise. No crap flung about Lobo for you. Now, see, some Crumb Point, Plastic Man is so much fun. Absolutely. I got the old cartoon series on DVD of Plastic Man, so I haven't watched that in ages.
Well, yeah, Plastic Man is pretty cool because it's like, he's so powerful, but he's also like a really fun character.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, he grew up as a criminal, too. He's a reformed.
Yeah. If they come out with a Justice League Dark movie, which seems like they are, I would really like to also see like an animated TV show based around Justice League Dark as well.
I think that would have a lot of cool potential. And DC, at least you can know they're most likely going to do it right.
Yeah, I feel like I want at least one animated series based around a DC supernatural property because they have so many great characters that they could use. Like Clarion the Witch Boy, Etrigan is also a character they can use. Like he's super popular.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really use him that much, but he has a huge following. Like him, Zatanna, and Constantine are all very popular.
And they've been good about throwing them into the DC Universe cartoons to get other people to know about them. And I really like that. It was a good move.
Yeah.
Another show that I'm enjoying, I don't know if anybody else watches this, is the Legends of Tomorrow, or I think they call it, or something like that.
Oh, I didn't watch that. I mean, it never really interests me that much, but I know that show.
I like it. It's sort of a ragtag group that, really none of the heroes are their own biggest thing, but it's just sort of fun. It's got Firestorm in it and just the characters that were never A tier. They were like the C tier, characters. It just makes it sort of interesting to watch.
Yeah. I feel like with some things, I just don't think they may not work for live action. Like if they're animated, it's better because you're not hindered by special effects and all of that stuff. Because when
Right.
you have animation, you can do a lot more. Like there's some characters and teams that work best as animation, which is why they were so successful when they did make them animation. Like Doom Patrol. Like Doom Patrol, I could not see really being done in live action very well on a television show, but animated could work perfectly,
Right.
as shown with the DC Nation short.
Right.
I would love to see like an animated series based upon like what is it? I'm trying to remember. Well, there's just so many characters out there that can make really great animated series. Yeah.
Crumble Point mentions, does anyone remember Injustice when Plastic Man and Elongated Man are just competing to be the most useful stretchy guy? I don't recognize that storyline in a particular issue. I'd love to see it, though.
Wait, did he say Injustice or Justice?
In Justice, not Injustice, but he said, remember in space Justice.
Oh, yeah, I know that comic book. Yeah, it's basically a comic book that introduces the Legion of Doom, because the Legion of Doom was created by the Super Friends TV show and never really been in official continuity. So this was like a graphic novel.
I'm gonna have
where
to
the Legion
read
of
that.
Doom appear. Yeah, it's pretty good. Alex Ross is the artist for it, so it has very great artwork.
Is Elongated Man even alive anymore? I thought they killed him off.
It's an Elseworlds basically. It's not continuity.
Okay. Framington mentioned, how do you guys feel or think about Black Lightning getting his own show? I'll let you hit it first. I have my feelings on that.
I mean, I understand why they're doing it, but it seems like it might work because they're going for the whole idea that this is him after he's retired, which is kind of interesting because most of these shows don't do that. It's normally like it's them starting off in their superhero career, but it's for him, it's the opposite.
All right. Yeah, from what I've seen, I think it's looking really good. And like you said, too, that's one of the points that I like about it, too, is he's not going to be like a young 20s into rest that. He's a guy that's coming back to it after he's done it in the past and retired from it. So, and I think it looks really visually good, too, from what I've seen. And, granted, it's just only a little bit I've seen, too. But everything I've seen on it so far makes me go, wow, I want to see this. So,
yeah.
So I definitely, I'm on board.
Okay. The only thing I'm worried about is, his daughter is also kind of like a main character, and she also apparently is developing superpowers as well. So I'm always worried that they're going to use that to try and push her as the main character. Like, she's a strong, independent girl and stuff. And
that's the one thing I'm afraid of. They're going to take the emphasis off of him and throw it to her.
Yeah, basically, they fall for the feminist trap where it's like you have basically, if there's a female character, you have to put her in front and center and always keep it there. Like anything less of perfect is basically, misogyny.
Right. And I don't mind her being a minor character in the show, but I want Black Lightning, the guy, to be it. It's just, from what I've seen, he looks like he's got a good attitude for it and everything. It's going to be just fun. Somebody else mentioned a Red Hood movie.
That would be pretty interesting.
I would like it probably, but I think it'd probably be a long way down the road because they haven't even really introduced Robin much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Red Hood, like if they were to do like a TV show based off of Red Hood and the Outlaws, I think that would be pretty cool.
I've heard that book is really good too. I haven't read it.
Actually is good. The first book was the first series was really good with the New 52, and then the second book of Rebirth is really good too because they have Artemis and Bizarro, so they're like in a sense an anti-hero trinity.
Okay, yeah, and I've heard they have a really good back and forth with Red Hood and Bizarro for something. I just find that intriguing.
It's Bizarro. Bizarro's like everything's backwards for him.
Yeah, I always think of Bizarro as just this dumb lug. So I think it might be interesting to see more character with him because I'm sure there's more than him that I know. So I definitely would like to check that out. And I like Jason Todd too, so I'm all in for it.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite Robin's Damian Wayne because I always thought like a We Are Robin film or TV show would be kind of cool because that was like a New 52 miniseries that featured groups of kids calling themselves Robin. So it's kind of like Kick-Ass, but they're all like Robin in some way.
No, what I'm gonna have to call you out on this one. Damian Wayne's your favorite Robin? Really?
Yeah, I love Damian.
Out of all the Robins, I hate Damian, but I love him in Super Sons for some reason. But
well, no, see, okay, I mean, see, what I like about Damian Wayne is that he is pretty different from a lot of the other Robin characters. Like, for him, it's not the fact that he suffered tragedy as a young child, like with the other Robins or something like that. For him, it's kind of like he's trying to basically become human. Like he's basically been raised to be an assassin, like a cold-blooded killer.
Right.
And he's trying to basically like kind of reintegrate back into society.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting character. It's just out of all the Robins, he's probably my least favorite. It's like he's the dick. He's the Guy Gardner, Yeah.
But see, I also love Guy Gardner because that's what I like about it. It's not, I feel like, I don't know, some people feel like every superhero has to be perfect, always has to be nice or agreeable. But I don't know, I like you need those characters that kind of are like, the foil.
In all fairness, too, I like Guy Gardner. I liked him because he was the one that pissed everybody off. Just like I like John Walker, U.S. Agent, when he came into like the West Coast Avengers. He was like the dick in the team that nobody wanted there.
Yeah.
So, but for Damian, I don't know. I just can't get into him, but I love him in Super Sons. For Robins, I've always liked Dick Grayson because he's the classic. I like him to be Nightwing, though. And I love, oh my goodness, Tim Drake.
It might be because you're a parent, and the idea of having a very, very bratty kid like that might be off.
Yeah, maybe it is. I love.
I know another guy who hates Damian. He also is a dad too.
Yeah, I love Tim Drake as Robin. I think he's been a great one.
Well, Tim Drake is the good son, so of course.
See, you might be onto something there. You might be psychologically pick me out there.
I don't know. Did you watch the animated films featuring Damian, like the Son of Batman, Batman versus Robin, and the Teen Titans?
Let's see. I haven't watched the Teen Titans one yet, but I've watched the others.
Okay, so you didn't watch Teen Titans versus Justice League?
No.
Okay, well, Teen Titans. I mean, if you look at over the course of the Batman movies, he does definitely like improve as a character. But I think with the Teen Titans, that's definitely where you see his character kind of develop even more, because in the beginning he's very hostile towards the Titans, but then when he begins to open up a bit, you can kind of tell throughout the movie that he feels very uncomfortable, emotionally opening up and having a good time at like a fair that the Titans go to like loosen up and have fun.
Right.
But that's what makes it kind of interesting. And in that process, he kind of forms a friendship with Raven because the two of them are kind of similar in that sense, that they're both kind of, they both have their own secrets and basically are like a more emotionally distant than the rest of their teammates.
I do plan on seeing that. That's on my list of ones to get and see. I thought it looks really good, and I do want to see it.
It's pretty good. Like, it's basically like they take a roster from the new Teen Titans a bit. Like, they have Beast Boy, Cyborg, not Cyborg, sorry. Beast Boy, Starfire, Raven, and they also have Blue Beetle. But they also mix it up with, like, the New 52 continuity. So it's like the animated films are kind of like mixing both New 52 and pre-New 52 continuity together.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard for me to keep up on all this stuff because I'm limited on the time that I can watch stuff due to kids.
Yeah.
And I think that one's more of an adultish one. Most of the DC ones skew more towards the adult, and I don't want, so I don't let them watch that. So I have to wait till they're asleep on a good night and have time to do it. So
you should definitely watch Superman versus Elite, because that, in my opinion, is like the best Superman animated movie I've seen.
Wow. Awesome.
Have you seen that one?
I don't believe I have.
Oh, that's a good one. That basically goes with the idea of, is it okay for heroes to kill villains?
I think I have it. I might just not have seen it yet.
Okay, it's really good. I mean, the art style is okay. I know some people really didn't like the art style, but the storyline and how they handled Superman character was near perfection.
Cool.
Because it's basically a critique on anti-heroes, on how they go around murdering people because they're bad guys.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually end up with a small stack of stuff to watch and have to wait till I can try to get to it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think it's a really great film, and it basically really asks the question about morality and how far is too far for heroes.
And I really wish Marvel could step it up and start getting good animated movies like DC does. That would be so nice.
Well, they did some good ones. Like the Doctor Strange movie, I thought was really good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, the animated film. Yeah, I think I like that much better. I mean, I haven't watched live action film because it just didn't really interest me. Like for me, when I saw the trailer and they made the Wi-Fi joke, that just that did it in for me. I just no, that just was so stupid in my opinion.
Well, what I'm waiting for, and I can't wait, is a Riri Williams Ironheart movie.
Oh,
No,
I'm guessing
I'm
that's
kidding.
sarcasm.
Yes, that was all sarcasm. I was
Yeah, okay.
I was wondering, I was like, okay, how long is it going to take to fire up everybody in the live chat? That dick. No, absolutely not Riri at all. As a matter of fact, I'm happy if they kill that character off.
Yeah, come to think of it, if they had Riri Williams in Age of Ultron, she was going to create Ultron. I wonder if that would have made more sense and made the movie better, since they would have turned her more into a villain.
That I think could work. I would like that.
Because I did feel like Tony Stark was a bit out of character with how, I mean, they explained it why he became so paranoid, yes, but it's still, I don't know. It is still kind of weird how, like, yeah, he was trying to basically, in a sense, become Big Brother government.
Yeah, I like the fact, that I like the Marvel movies, but that's one of the things that did rub me wrong. Is like, this should have been Henry Pym that did this. The purist in me is going, this is wrong.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I had some problems with the Marvel Universe from the get-go. Like, let's see, from the get-go, when I first saw Iron Man, I read up on Iron Man before the movie came out, and I realized, okay, the Mandarin helped create, the Mandarin is part of his origin story. He's a guy with 10 alien rings that has superpowers. It sounds really cool when I read about it. So the movie comes out, and it's like, where's the Mandarin? Where's the Mandarin? He's supposed to be here. And it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of terrorists in the Middle East. Okay, that's kind of lame. So it's like, I still like the film, but I was kind of disappointed that they didn't actually go with the Mandarin.
Even more disappointed by Iron Man 3 when they finally give you the Mandarin. And
I thought that was stupid. Yeah, just like, well, come on, a guy with 10 alien rings. That sounds cool. That sounds like a cool idea.
Well, that's the stupidity of the whole situation. You can have a character with 10 alien rings, or you can have a raccoon character, and everybody's fine with it, but they're afraid to death to use an Asian, playing a guy that was an Asian in the comic books because of, backlash. And come on. How many times have we had Kung Fu movies with Asians in it?
I know.
Not all of them.
Again, it's like,
they had no problems with that.
Yeah, again, one of the most dangerous mafia in the world is Yakuza, and they're Asians.
Yeah, I mean, big deal. He's an Asian. Granted, I will say Marvel has had a history of some stereotypes that could be deemed offensive. But I'm sorry, if they played the Mandarin as he appeared at the beginning of the movie and had him be tough and scary and things like that, would anybody have had any problem with it?
Yeah, no. I mean, see, me personally, I don't really care. I guess for me, I don't mind stereotypes. In fact, I sometimes feel like, I don't know. For me, it's an example of creative expression. I'm into pure creative expression. So yeah, stereotypes, to me as a comedian, that's how, that's what we base our comedy off of. And the strongest stereotypes tend to have at least some tiny bit of truth to them, which is why they're still around today, you know? So it's like, for me, it's like, I feel like people getting offended over stereotypes is ridiculous because everyone gets stereotyped. That's just a fact. So, I don't really care. I don't care about stereotypes. If people want to do them, let them do it and stuff. It's just a fictional story. Don't get upset about it. That's what I say to people about complaining about stereotypes.
Right, and I think I'm more of a purist. I think that's what gets me. Like the one triggering thing I had against the Doctor Strange, is the Grandmaster or whatever wasn't the same person. Now, granted, the lady that played him or played her, because now it's a female, did a great job. But the purist in me is like, well, that's not quite right.
Yeah, I mean, the animated film, they kept true to the story and made him Asian. It's like, there's nothing wrong with him being Asian and stuff. I mean, which is really funny. It's like they complain about Asian stereotypes it's the old one, right? Or is it the great one?
Yeah, that's it.
The great one? Is that his name?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, they complained about Asian stereotypes, but then they went ballistic over Iron Fist being white.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
As I said, they just find a way to argue about and get mad about something to get attention and get clicks. Let's see here. Will we see Mephesto in the Marvel comic universe? I'm going no. I don't think we will.
The comic universe?
Yeah, the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm sorry. I tend to not think so. I don't think there's any kind of mystical.
I know they're talking about the Ghost Rider series, like he's getting his own show, but to me, it doesn't make any sense because it just doesn't seem like it would fit. Because when they show Mephisto, especially like in the original you know, in the original Ghost Rider film, which wasn't really that good, you know, there was a supernatural sense to it. Like it felt like, you know, it felt right for the movie, at least, you know, that they were saying, oh, this is the devil, or at least someone like the devil, you know?
Yeah. I
But with
think
the
it's the
cinematic universe,
ancient
it
one.
makes no sense. It wouldn't make any sense. It just wouldn't fit to me. It just would look weird.
Yeah. So they're going to try to do a Ghost Rider? I heard they might, if he did good in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., do a spinoff with Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
So,
I just don't see it. It just, the universe is set up to be, the universe has been set up in a way that you really can't see supernatural stuff happening. Like with DC and their movies, they've basically set it up since movie 3, which is Suicide Squad, that there is magic. And same thing with Wonder Woman. Like Wonder Woman's also weird, so she's magical as well.
yeah. So I do.
You know,
I
DC
think
established
Marvel
from the
have to do
get-go
more
that there was
setup.
magic, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Marvel could do it. They just need to set it up more. You know, maybe Doctor Strange is a good setup for that.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing: I feel like there's a big difference between magic, like Doctor Strange magic, and someone like Mephisto, who is like the devil. You know, that makes you think of The Exorcist. You know, that's like horror movie stuff. So to me, that's still a very, you know, that's still a very big difference to me. It would look weird, and that's a very hard thing to market. I mean, can you imagine? Would parents want to take their kids to a film featuring a character that's like the devil, basically? Who does contracts? I mean, no, that would Disney. I don't think Disney would ever allow that. Like, I think Disney hasn't really used devilish imagery since like Fantasia, which came out in like the 1940s.
Right. You know, the thing is too, with dark heroes being popular and can be very successful, it's sort of, you know, even with Nicolas Cage, you know, a lot of people are against Nick Cage. I think he could be a great Ghost Rider. They just can't write him a story that's worth a crap. You know?
Yeah. Oh no, I've been a big Ghost Rider. I actually was really into Ghost Rider, like, you know, a while ago, and yeah, he's a very great and interesting character. It's just, yeah, they just may not know how to use them. And for the movie universe, I just don't really see it.
Okay. I mean,
I just feel like he would work better as his own character. Like if he was in his own universe, it would work a lot better because then you're not hindered by, you know, other people's settings to basically incorporate that into your own.
Yeah, now correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's any plans anywhere in the near future for another Ghost Rider movie. I think the second one killed that off.
Oh, I heard the second one was better than the first one, actually.
Really? I like the first one better.
So I liked them both. I thought they were both entertaining.
I thought Ghost Rider looked more ferocious and mean in the second one, but Ghost Rider is slightly over. Okay, but yeah, that's I don't know. It's a tough call. That's something, maybe Doctor Doom movie could use Mephisto. That'd be a tough.
Well, Doctor Doom's owned by Fox.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough one to pull off right now because the rights are Fox.
I know, it's pretty amazing that Marvel sold off like their two best villains to Fox.
Just the rights for the movies.
Well, for the movies, but you know, that's for Disney. That's a major, you know, thing.
Well, what happened is they overexpanded. They thought they could become absolutely huge, and they bought into trading cards and all that, and they expanded so much.
I know the story. Yeah, it's just pretty amazing that they sold away those.
Well, they had to do whatever they could to keep it going afloat, and now that bit in the butt so bad. You know, which is terrible. You know, all these kinds of weird things that always trigger things, like the Incredible Hulk television show in the 70s. That's how come we have Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk, is because all of a sudden they thought the network was going to create a She-Hulk show, and they wanted to make sure that they had the rights to any She-Hulk, you know, that kind of thing, because it's based off of the Hulk. So they hurried up and made a She-Hulk comic, you know, stuff like that. It's just really cool stuff.
Yeah, it would be kind of funny that back in the early 2000s, like Marvel basically filed for bankruptcy if Warner Brothers had bought them as well. So both them and DC were under the same house.
That would have been interesting, but you know, I think they work best in different universes. The power set and things of the characters is just dramatically different.
Well, I wouldn't say different. I mean, I wasn't saying like I wouldn't put them in the same universe, but they're just, you know, they're owned by the same people now, so it's like you know.
If they did, you know, that'd be my first question. Would they put them in the same universe? Because that's the thing. I don't think they play off.
I think we would. Well. I think we would see crossover. I think the Marvel versus DC, the DC Marvel crossovers, we would see more of those. Like we probably get those once every few years, which would be pretty interesting to see. And then you could also have the more Marvel versus DC video games and stuff.
Yeah. You know what would be sort of neat, and Marvel would absolutely probably hate this, is if they did another Marvel DC crossover, just like last time, where you voted on the winner of battles. And you know those SJW heroes would get their butts kicked
Yeah,
if it was based on voting.
that would be like, oh, but just think of it this way: like if Warner Bros. Owned both Marvel and DC, imagine like playing a video game where you had Deadpool, Deathstroke, the Punisher, and Deadshot, or whichever is the DC equivalent of the Punisher and stuff. They're all in the game together. You basically get to do a shooter game.
That would probably be a nerdgasm for most, because all those talks about who can beat who. You like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, I think it was like it's like time. Imagine the DC and Marvel equivalent of Time Split. I'm not sure if you played Time Splitters.
I
like
have
a
never
first-person
played
shooter.
That's
Okay,
first
it's a
person.
first-person. Yeah, it's a first-person shooter game that's about time travel. And unlike almost every first-person shooter game, there's a lot of humor. It doesn't take itself seriously. Like, it's very wacky with a huge cast of insane characters. It's pretty funny. Well, I saw a DC and Marvel game based on that would be hilarious, where you have these different, Marvel characters go around shooting each other.
Mm-hmm.
You could get a sniper rifle with like the Punisher and like snipe out Deadshot and stuff.
That would be great.
Character has a saying basically that they say when they kill someone.
Yeah, I don't think I have that game either. I'd have to check. I have a huge backlog of games, so I mean it's just big.
Okay, it was for PS2 and GameCube.
Oh, I have a lot of PS2 and GameCube games that I haven't gotten to yet.
Okay, so number
PlayStation
3 is the best.
1 games I haven't got to yet.
They all have. I mean, they're the number 2 and 3 are part of the same story, but number 3 is the best. And I just played number 3, so number 3 I thought was really good.
See, there's another issue I have. I have to play them from number 1. I gotta go right through.
I played number 2. I haven't played number 1. I played number 2, which is fun, but number 3 is my favorite because number 1 and 2 are rated T for teen, but number 3 is rated M.
Okay. Yeah. Matter of fact, not too terribly long ago, I played Halo for the first time. I beat the first Halo, but I don't have Halo 2 yet, and I have Halo 3, but I don't want to play 3 until I play 2. So
okay, yeah, that's interesting.
I'm one of those. I don't know. I just like to play the sequential order.
Oh, I hope wait. You don't do that with Grand Theft Auto, do you? Because that's too bad. Because Grand Theft Auto has a ton of games.
Not normally. I did play the big popular one, 5 or whatever it is, because
5. Yeah.
I got it for free. I never buy anything new, or if I do, I get it for a good deal. And I got a PlayStation 3.
You don't have to play them chronologically because the storylines are very much their own thing. I mean, they reference some of the previous games, but it's very minor.
Well, I got it and I beat it. I played it because I don't. That's not one I'd normally go out and buy, but I got it with a PlayStation 3 for like $25. So it's like, okay, free game. It's actually really fun. So
Grand Theft Auto 5 is really great.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing that one. So just doing stupid stuff like sniping people from a long distance for no reason.
But it's like because a lot of people were saying that DC should make more video games that aren't just Batman. A Suicide Squad video game would have been really cool. And I've heard they were trying to develop one.
They need some better Superman as well. Which, by the way, I have.
They were planning to, but it got canned. Yeah.
Yeah, I beat Superman 64. So my wife got that for me as a gift. So I don't know if that means she either hates me. Yeah, does she either hate me or or did she not know?
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It's just it seems strange that they aren't using there aren't very many superhero games when there's so many movies, but you think that the gaming industry would jump on them.
Yeah. But the new Spider-Man one looks like it's going to be pretty good.
Well, Spider-Man's always had games, so he's been pretty consistent in getting his games.
There's a Hulk game I haven't gotten that I've been wanting to get to, the Ultimate Destruction. I think that's on PlayStation 2.
It's pretty good. It's like a sandbox game where you're smashing stuff and jumping long distances.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's really fun. Same thing like Spider-Man 2. Like everyone says Spider-Man 2, the video game was like the best out of all the Spider-Man video games, at least most of them.
Yeah, I've played several of the Spider-Man games, but now there's so many of them, I haven't played a lot of them. So,
yeah. When I first played Spider-Man 3, I just would jump off the Empire State Building and smash into the ground and die. Because you could do that. Because you could literally just fall and die. Yeah.
You know, a game that I think is highly underrated is Captain America for the PlayStation 3. It's very much like Batman Arkham. It's just not quite as deep. So, but it's a fun
Okay.
game. If you like the fighting and stuff like you did in Batman Arkham, Captain America has got that. You got the rhythm based and throwing your shield and taking them out and stuff. It's a pretty dang cool game. So
Yeah, I really wish they would do a good X-Men game that's like, because I know X-Men Destiny bombed, but I would love a game where you could actually make your own mutant and you could, develop a mini, like you could develop a very specific superpower and develop along as the game went along.
yeah. Well, X-Men Legends 1 and 2 were good.
Yeah, but that was basically a precursor to Ultimate Alliance, which I actually really enjoyed. Like number 1 was, I think I liked better than number 2 just because of the storyline.
I love number 1. I haven't gotten number 2. Every time I see it's always expensive, and I'm not going to pay that much.
Gameplay wise, number 2 is really good because you have double attacks where 2 characters can basically join together to do like a super attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are really fun, and then you also have a big cast of characters as well. But yeah, number 1 in my opinion, in terms of storyline, I think had the best.
And John Loomis brought up a great point. The Lego Batman games are amazing. I've played the first one.
Yeah,
I have 2 and 3. I just haven't played them yet.
3. I haven't played the first one, but I do have 3, and yeah, it looks like 3 is really good. It's just my PS3 broke down, so I have to get a new one.
Yeah, I have 1, 2, and 3. I 100%ed the first one. I got everything. I don't normally do that for games because I usually don't care. But that was a lot of fun. I haven't played 2 and 3 yet.
Well, 3 basically has you have like tons of DC characters to choose from to play as.
Awesome. I'm waiting to play that with Little Frugal, so we play it together.
Yeah, you should play Batman or Dexstar, the cat, because Dexstar was always one of my favorites because he's like a Red Lantern who's like a cat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's I don't know if you're sure you've heard of his character.
I have. I don't know a lot about that character, though. I can't say that.
He's a character that was created as a joke, but when they gave him his origin story, he has a very tragic origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So people like him because he has a very tragic origin story and he's also very cute.
Ah, nice. I mean,
he's a Red Lantern, yeah.
In the day of arcades, I would spend $10+ in quarters on the Marvel Superheroes game and got through maybe twice in a dozen of the times I played. Is that the fight game? Because I have if that's the fight game, I have that on PlayStation 1. Great game. Love that one.
Okay. Yeah,
and
I would love to see I would also love to see like a Red Lantern show or Red Lanterns movie because Red Lanterns are becoming very popular because they have a big following.
Well, I think we're going to get another Green Lantern movie, so that might pull it off.
I know. I would love to see a movie with all different colors because I rather enjoy it. I really love what Jeff Johns did by bringing in the different color.
I agree. It really opened up the Green Lantern universe. I really like it.
Yeah, when you look at Green Lantern is very similar in a sense to a bit of like Star Wars, where you have like a lot of action, almost like different guilds of light powers, and they based upon emotion. Like blue is for hope, red is for hatred, and green's for willpower, and violet is for love, and indigo is for compassion, and yellow is for fear.
Yeah. I've been DC Green Lantern is one of my favorites. I've always, when I was younger, it was always a lot more Marvel, but my DC favorites was like Flash and Green Lantern. And I'm a Hal Jordan fan. I'm a big Hal Jordan fan.
Oh yeah,
and I love what
Green Lantern's powers are really great.
Yeah.
Me personally, I used to be a Hal Jordan fan, but I think Guy Gardner's my favorite just because I like his personality. Like, he has such an interesting personality that makes him kind of very different from others. Yeah.
He definitely does. And he's been written well. I mean, what in the recent series, he was captured and tortured, and man, no matter how much they beat on him, he would not say a thing. And it's like, that makes me really like that character. It's just, and it fit him so well. He's just a dick. So, but yeah, and each one, they make their constructs as different based on their personality and things like that. It really added a lot to it. Like Hal Jordan, you get a lot with the planes, and he tends to go with more simplistic stuff. John Stewart tends to do more engineering type.
Architect. Yeah, and then Kyle Rayner does anime because he's an artist, and I forgot what Guy does, but Kyle Rayner, he's unique because he's an artist.
So yeah, I do really like how they've expanded that universe, and I'm really hoping for that next movie. Heck, I've even beat the Green Lantern video game just for the record. So
Yeah,
and that
but
wasn't anything special. So.
yeah, I think it's not. Well, I think it's Green Lantern core. So I think
Mhm.
they're going to show a lot more of the core. So I think the biggest mistake of the Green Lantern, the original film, was it took place too much on Earth, and I feel like they utilized too much CGI. Like
Well,
this could have just been regular cloth.
yeah, his suit I think was a mistake. It looked too funky, and they did the classic mistake that some movies do. The final villain at the end is like you're fighting a cloud. Nobody wants a fight with a cloud. You know,
Yeah,
they did that in the first Hulk. You know, it looked like, you need something that you can really truly see. And they made
yeah,
that mistake. But I think Green Lantern Corps is a better concept in general because they're Green Lanterns. They're like intergalactic police. So you've got, people to bounce stuff off of each other. So I think it's going to be a good move.
yeah.
John Loomis says it's all about Simon, the one that Green Lantern that no one cares about.
Simon Bass.
Yeah, I don't know if that's about him. I don't think so. I think it's going to have John
No,
Stewart and Hal
it showed
Jordan.
that I know the promotional thing was Hal Jordan and John.
Yeah. I don't think Simon's that bad either. What's the female though that's with it? That she's the better character.
She's like the Power Ring from the Universe 3.
Yeah.
Which is the bad, where they're evil or something like that. Yeah.
But I can't think of her name because they're both in that book, and she's just a more in-depth character.
Wasn't it Jessica? I thought her name was Jessica.
That might be it.
Jessica Cruz, I think. Yeah.
That's it. Yep, Jessica Cruz. And I mean, I remember reading one issue where she just struggled just to get out of bed, because her issues and things like that. I said, that's good. That's character development right there. That makes you care about that character.
Yeah, I joked on the stream that if Marvel and DC crossed over with each other and like the SJW characters went over to DC, they would be like disturbed at how the female characters at DC aren't all complaining about how hard it is being a woman. And then the DC heroes are going to be like, "You're insane" or something like, "What is wrong with you?"
Well, I think DC's actually been through this a little bit, and they learned. They tried it with Wonder Woman things. Yeah. Remember, they put Wonder Woman more in street clothes and stuff like. It did not work at all.
Yeah, but it's not as like it was. I don't know. It wasn't as ham-fisted as what SJW Marvel's doing right now. It wasn't like looking at your teacher, and basically saying you're supposed to tell me I can't do this because I'm a black woman or something like that. Something crazy like that. And then like the Unbeatable Wasp is basically like going on this long monologue about it's an all boys club. There have never been female scientists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is total BS. I'm just glad because that's just total BS. Like in actual history, there have been several female scientists. Yeah,
and I agree. Marvel went way farther than DC did, and I'm glad that got stopped to it in DC. I mean, there's still some of that in DC, but I mean, they didn't go near, like you said, the links that Marvel did.
It sounds like Batwoman was like the closest from the sound, like in terms of SJW-ness, and like Wonder Woman, of course, has always kind of been like that, but because a lot of people were complaining about Batwoman doing that.
Yeah. I want to answer a question in the chat. Eclectic 1995 said, why isn't S.H.I.E.L.D. more involved in the mutant situation? If the mutants are a threat to public safety and the purpose of S.H.I.E.L.D. is to protect the public from superpower danger, is S.H.I.E.L.D. not obliged? The answer is they can't. They can't use the X-Men stuff in the television show, and they wanted the comic book to be linked with the television show.
Yeah.
So that's why there was the big Inhumans push. When they don't have the movie and TV rights for the characters, they wanted to make the next big thing Inhumans, so they had it, and it failed.
Yeah, and because because the show set up the Inhumans, but now they right? There are no Inhumans characters anymore, right?
Well, yeah, they still have Quake on there and things like that. So
yeah, but the movie's been canned.
Yeah, the movie got canned. The TV series looks like it's going to be canned. It isn't official, but the television station, what is it, NBC or whatever, is already calling it the complete series. So it shows they have no faith in it whatsoever. So unless it does all of a sudden astronomically good,
I think it's a one and
done. Whatever it's on, I'm not sure which.
Okay, if it's NBC, they canned Constantine, which was a really good show, but they're going to can anything that isn't NCIS.
Well, even before they played the first episode of Inhumans, based on the IMAX information and the draw they got from that, they automatically concluded it wasn't going to work. So,
Yeah.
but who knows? Maybe it might do astronomical in the ratings. I doubt it, but if it does, who
Yeah, I
knows?
don't think so. Well, their costumes look bad. I think everyone hates their costumes.
Yeah, and I think they shave Medusa's hair off to cut the budget down. Stuff like that. I mean, come on. And that's just still part of the problem we're going to have to deal with. Even though we're in a magical time where we get to see our heroes and things on the big screen and all that, it's still expensive and it's hard for TV. That's why I'm pretty astonished with stuff they are able to do on the Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. Considering the budget, they're doing really good. And I think Shield's improved greatly as well.
Yeah.
I mentioned his biggest disappointments with Cloak and Dagger. Haven't watched it. Is it even out yet? So, not sure.
What, Cloak and Dagger?
Yeah. It was on
they were
some
getting
other.
a show?
Yeah, they were getting a show on Freeform or Form. I don't know what exactly called. I don't have it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think it's a platform set to die in the first place. But
Yeah, I kind of hope. Yeah, it's too bad they didn't release more episodes of Gods and Monsters. I know that they were planning to release kind of an online series to accompany the animated film that DC did.
Okay. John, he said that they killed Cloak and Dagger before the show was even aired. So they didn't even air it and they canceled it then already?
Yeah, well,
Which
I don't think anyone really knows those characters right now.
I do. But yeah, I guess you have to be pretty
casual
deep in
people
nerd
probably
culture.
don't,
Yeah, I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they're pushing Inhumans and Mutant. Yeah. Well, I will say the last season of S.H.I.E.L.D. was pretty good so far. I enjoyed that. So, there we go. Freeform used to be ABC Disney Family Channel until they kept putting on MTV-style shows that they had to change the name. Ah, okay. No wonder. I'm not an MTV follower. I'm too old for that crap.
Yeah. Well, MTV nowadays is it's terrible. There's not very many music, just a bunch of terrible reality shows and disgusting stuff.
And speaking, because I remember MTV for their dumb award shows. Speaking of award shows, don't forget tomorrow night, 8:00 on I Love Comics channel. He's going to be doing the award show for comic books. Definitely check it out. Give him a plug there.
Award show?
Yes, it's going to be
a roasting or a good awards.
It is a legit award show voted on the categories by the fans for bad stuff, like worst comic of the year, worst DC, worst artist.
Okay, so it's all worst. It's not best.
It's all worst, but it's an award show for the worst.
Okay, that's
the Gabbies.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be called the Gabbies. So that's going to be on, and everything was voted for. So the winners of those were legitimately based on voting, not a group of elitists that vote things based on diversity and crap like that. So
yeah,
it's sort of the opposite of the Eisner Awards.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, the Eisner Awards have now been made moot due to SJW books winning them.
Exactly. It's all back padding and things to get an Eisner Award. This is the opposite. It's a true thing by the fans.
The Oscars and the Emmys are like that nowadays too.
Oh yeah, I have no faith in any of that crap at all. Oh, you forgot to vote. You still can vote, Nerd Wonder. So get on there and vote ASAP. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know. It seems like today it's harder to get into the comic book industry. Especially if you don't follow the right opinions, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're completely blackballed from the mainstream big, at least from Marvel. You got to be careful on DC as well. But yeah, you'll be blackballed in no time. So, we're speaking of some of those, check out some of the YouTubers and things that aren't doing that kind of stuff. Green Lantern right now, the artwork and that's phenomenal. And that guy, Ethan Van Sciver, he knows how to be on social network. He's kind to everybody. Huge difference.
But he's also he's also a Trump supporter, which pisses a ton of people off.
Well, you look at his Twitter feed and things. It's not Trump this, Trump that, Trump that.
Oh,
it's It's about him and about the work. That's how you do it.
But they went as far as say his signature looks like a swastika or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah, they hate him because of that. But my point is this: if you are in the field and you're prominent, you represent a company, you stay out of that stuff. And you just speak up to your fans, and he does that. And his work is phenomenal. Oh, here.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Is there?
Because
Let's go ahead.
wait,
I'm
what?
sorry. I was going to read a question in the chat.
Yeah. I was just saying, yeah, because I always like the idea of like kind of having like a circus inspired superhero comic, because I know like originally with the original superheroes, their costumes were modeled after circus performers.
Mhm.
So I always thought it'd be kind of cool. Like I think I was going to call a series like The Greatest Show on Pages.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
One of the questions:
Like, yeah.
is there a
Oh, yeah.
villain in the Marvel that you wished would get more of the limelight? Oh wow, Marvel villain that would get more limelight. I'm gonna have to think on that one for a little bit. You know what? Maybe the Spot. Actually, I know the Spot's really stupid kind of thing, but if you think about it, if Spot was done right, he could be downright vicious. You know, so I'd like to see that.
Okay. You know, I guess I'm not really too much into Marvel as much, so it's hard to tell. I was trying to remember like what villains besides the obvious ones that kind of have got attention. Uh, I don't know, maybe like Carnage or Venom. So Venom's gotten in one movie, and Carnage hasn't been any movies.
No, Gad Ramon's there. He took a shot at me lame because I used to spot. My goal was to spotlight a character that doesn't get much attention there, just for the record.
Well, who does this character?
When I said the Spot, he said lame. That's the whole point. Right now, he's done lame. Yeah, he could be so much more vicious if they'd write him well. You thought the Gabbies was going to be no. Gabbies are not next Friday. Gabbies are tomorrow night. So don't miss it.
Oh, okay, the Spot is like the guy who creates portals.
Yes. Now think about that. How wicked. I mean, you could be a maniacal killer. You could create portals right in people, just boom, done, tear them right up and everything else. So,
yeah.
But nope, they don't use them that way.
Yeah, use them as a joke.
Exactly. Oh yeah,
I guess
Iron Man villain Ghost, most definitely Ghost. He's going to get more attention. I think. I think he's going to get more soon. I think I forgot what he's going to be in, but they're going to spotlight him in something. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess what you like said, the Spot, it's kind of like with Mirror Master, where it's hinted at that Mirror Master is in fact very OP. I think they said like, yeah, I think it's Mirror Master who's like the Flash villain. It's like he said, it's like I think in one story, like I think several years ago, was that it apparently like we find out that he could actually take down the entire Justice League if he wanted to. But that's not his deal. He just wants to rob banks. That's his thing. He wants to rob banks. He doesn't want to kill people. But yeah.
Right. Gad, you mentioned Cardiac, but he's more actually a bit of an anti-hero. He actually does good things, but in a bad way. So, he's really like a mixed. Now, Spy Master, there we go. Oh, I remember him in the Iron Man books. He was awesome in Iron Man in the 80s and maybe early 90s, if I recall. Good call. I miss Spy Master. I can't even remember the last time I seen a book with him in it.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I guess do you have any DC villains that you like to see?
Well, let's see. I don't know. I have to take some thought too. Particular DC villains. I will say that's one thing Marvel has ahead of DC is good villains. A lot like Superman needs a better rogues gallery.
Oh, really? Because that's interesting. Most people say DC always has the better villains. It's just
they have some great ones under the Batman, but once you go past Batman and Flash, are the villains as good anymore?
I actually think DC has better villains. Like Lex Luthor is a great villain. That's all. It's it's the ideological battle. It's not about the powers. It's not just about the powers. It's about he's always outsmarting Superman. He's thinking 2 steps ahead of him.
Sure, don't get me wrong. DC has some great villains, but they have some phenomenal villains like Lex Luthor, Joker, Darkseid, Scarecrow. But once you get outside the Batman Rogues Gallery, the Flash is actually I think has a lot of good ones. Well, and some Supermans, they got some pretty lame ones, but maybe I'm missing some.
Well, they're lame ones, but Marvel also has its own issues, like has its own failed villains as well. It's just like, well, I don't know. It's like Green Lantern has some really great villains too. Like the Red Lanterns are villains. They're really great. And then Sinestro is an excellent villain because he's basically like an allegory to the dictator who grew up in a very harsh planet, but it shaped them into basically a fascist, you know?
Yeah, you're right. He's great too. The more we're talking about it, the more I'm starting to disagree with myself.
Okay. And then, you know, like and then not to mention like Constantine, his rogues gallery or his villains are basically, you know, people who dabble in black magic, demons, and basically hell itself, you know. It's just like with DC, the thing about DC is just DC, a lot of their wider universe is more obscure than Marvel. So people, I guess, get the idea that there aren't very many, I guess, good villains out there, but there actually are a lot. It's just they're so obscure.
That could be. Unranked Chevron, you said Marvel has Arcade. Were you meaning that as he's a lame villain, or do you actually really like him? I'm curious.
I heard Arcade's pretty cool. He's like, you know.
See, I've never cared for Arcade.
Like he plays jokes, right?
He creates an environment and like somehow traps the hero in it, and so they have to try to
it's
get
like Jigsaw, right?
Yeah, a bit like that. So you've seen him with like X-Men, you've seen him with Spider-Man, things like that.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like because like it's like how like in Batman, Scott Snyder reinvented Calendar Man. Like Calendar Man used to be this very generic and campy villain, but then he turned him into this Lovecraftian like horror where he like resurrects himself or something like at the end of every month. It's weird, yeah.
I'm interested to see because we're getting some talk about Arcade now. So he'll say he's the dumbest villain idea for a villain.
Yeah,
you know, I never could get into him. I mean, let's trap the hero and put him in this special world. I just never get that. I mean, it's more of a 60s kind of thing, I guess, where you capture them, you don't kill them, you play with them. And I understand that for tension and things. It just, with Arcade, I don't know, I just never really got into it.
Okay.
He reminds me a little bit of the Toy Master or something too, or
I don't know. Are you familiar with Felix Faust? Because Felix Faust was also a really great villain.
Yes.
Yeah, like, he's one of the main sorcerer villains. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Condiment King. Yeah, there we go. He's awesome.
Condiment King. Yeah. Who else? Because I was trying to think of there's also like I was thinking who DC has the equivalent of Doctor Doom. I'm trying to remember who it was. Gotta remember them all because there's so many villains out there.
Now, Gad asked about indie villains. I honestly can't give you a whole lot. I don't do a whole lot of indie books.
I don't read indie books either, really, because there's just too many of them.
Yeah, I read a few here and there, but I'm having a hard time keeping up.
Does Irredeemable count as indie?
That's a good question. I would assume
it's done by Boom. I mean, the publisher's Boom.
Yeah, I would assume it would count.
Okay, because if Irredeemable counts, then I guess the Plutonian, because he becomes a villain basically and starts murdering people.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time just keeping up at all, so I don't get a whole lot of chance to read. I read. I'm a little behind on that right now too, but the Walking Dead, I like those.
Yeah, I don't read or watch The Walking Dead. Just I don't know. I'm just not really interested in really zombie films just because there's so many of them.
I have a pile of Invincible that I haven't gotten to, so I just I have.
Yeah, no, I just don't have the time or money to invest in indie books.
Yeah, well, I buy a lot of my books secondhand. What I do is I find people that are selling big stacks of them, or on eBay when I get them for less than $1 a pop. You know, so that's why I've got such a big pile of them because I don't pay $3.99 a book.
Yeah, I can't get big piles. I have to be specific.
Yeah, so I try to buy complete runs and things like that. So
yeah,
I'll find like a run of 100 issues for $10 or something like that and snag it, and that's why I got about 10,000 comic books. So
yeah, but
if I had to pay $2.99 or $3.99, there's no way it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. It's just like it seems like with like the main DC heroes, it's like they have some pretty good villains. Like Aquaman, like he has Black Manta is very popular among Aquaman fans.
Mm-hmm. He's a pretty cool villain too. I had somebody too earlier ask me, why don't you review more current books? And it's like, well, they cost so much.
They cost, and some of them are bad.
Yeah, exactly. So I do a combination.
Waste of money.
Exactly. So I've been trying to throw in more new books. So that helps.
Well, you just told them that that's what Captain Cummings and Diversity in Comics are for. They read the new books.
Right. And so one of the things I like to do is compare some of the older books to the characters the way they are now. Those aren't my most popular videos. My most popular ones seem to be when I rant about stuff. But when the ones like I did about the Spider-Man issue 33 and compared them to Spider-Man of today, that's my favorite kind of stuff, I think, doing like that. I did one with the Robin series from his first volume, not the miniseries when we first got his own, that I really liked. I've done some Heroes for Hire. I think I'm going to do a Batman issue from I think it was the 80s or early 90s. I've got lined up, and I'm doing a viewer request one on an Iron Man book when he goes back in time.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that too. So it makes it fun to me.
Well, speaking of Spider-Man, so Miles Morales is originally from the Ultimate Universe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Miles is pretty much the only good thing from the Ultimate Universe.
Okay, so why do they have him be Spider-Man, not get the Peter Parker clone Spider-Man? Because wasn't there like a clone? What was his name? Like, what was his name?
That was come on, Ben Reilly, and he's actually has his own book now too. So he's this Scarlet Spider. There was also Kane, which is a clone. He was the Scarlet Spider for a while, had his own series. Now Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider again has his own series.
Okay, because why didn't they just go? Why didn't they go for him as Spider-Man?
Well, he actually made
a main continuity.
Right, but he did pave a way for himself to be Ben Reilly did to really be known as the Scarlet Spider. So they kept that.
Okay.
And that had a lot of people pushing for him to come back. Unfortunately, it was done really bad by Dan Slott. So anyway, with Miles, what happened is they created that whole universe to rid themselves of the continuity to help get readers. But you realize anytime you start a universe, eventually you're going to have continuity, and that universe started going to crap. They killed off Peter Parker, brought in Miles, and believe it or not, Miles is a really good character. But when they brought him to the main universe, it's just now another Spider-Man. It diluted his character. It took anything that made him special, and he's just not near as good anymore.
Oh, yeah. So, before he moved over to SJW Marvel, basically, what was his character in the Ultimate Universe?
He was Spider-Man because Peter Parker died, and he took over as Spider-Man.
Yeah, but what made him different? Out of curiosity,
he's his background, his history. He had a father that he was with and living with, and it just had his own little carved niche, his whole thing. And
he wasn't SJW.
No, not at all. He looked up to Peter Parker, and he was his own person, but he was a cool character. And now he's just like watered down because they brought him over to Universe, just another Spider-Man. And alone now there's two people with the same name running around. I mean, come on.
Okay, so he's not but he is but he's not gay because I know apparently they were trying to push him to be gay or something like that.
No, he's not. Matter of fact, he had a relationship with Gwenpool, I believe it was. So
okay.
So yeah, he's not gay.
Yeah, where did Gwenpool come from? I'm confused about that.
That was Gwenpool, I believe. Somebody on here can be more accurate than I can. She came from like another alternate universe and brought in. So
isn't her universe exactly like our own, where there are no superheroes?
That I couldn't tell you for sure, but I will say I've read a few of her books, and I've actually found them to be pretty good. So as much all the people that say mean things, her book is actually not bad.
Oh, is this before or after Heather Antos? What's part of the book? Because wasn't she
before and after? Yeah, actually, it's not a bad book. So
okay. I know Captain Cummings goes on and on about how she basically inserted herself into the book as Gwenpool.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was because of her or they designed the character after her. I'm not going to blame her on that. I'm not going to jump on the Heather Antos hate bandwagon. Though, granted, I think she was a hire that was not qualified. I'm absolutely going to say that.
And in no way would she start the milkshake fiasco.
Oh yeah, and I think the whole milkshake fiasco was completely fake to get her attention, to help drive up sales and things. I truly believe that. But I will say that book, I try to judge books separate from the people that write them and have editors and things that, I separate those two. It's actually not a bad book. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And Spider-Gwen too. That's another one out there. I haven't read as much of that either, but I hear that's okay. The costume is a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
And as Gab said, because he's been doing the research on it, he said didn't really drive up sales much. I agree. I think it was a failed attempt. A lot of people seen through that crying wolf because we said, "Where's the proof?" Because I think if they showed the proof, I think the comic community would go, "Yeah, this is crap," and band together on that. But they never did. So,
yeah, is Spider-Gwen the same character?
no, different person.
Oh,
okay. And that's part of the Marvel problem. Too much delusion. Too many zillion characters running around with similar and same names and everything else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I can understand why that's an issue because, it's just I guess with DC, it's like because they go for the more limited amounts of books, just to not overflow the market. They seeing an obscure character get their own series is a pretty significant thing at DC.
Right. But what's funny, though, is you look, DC has done a lot of the same things. They just did it better. I mean, we holler about there's too many Spider-Mans and all that. Look at how many Green Lanterns there are. But the Green Lanterns are good. Look how many Flashes there's been. But the Flash is good.
Are you talking about the series or the characters?
The characters,
Well, Green Lantern. The thing about Green Lanterns, Green Lantern's been a title. Like it's been long-standing that there are multiple Green Lanterns ever since a long time ago. Whereas Spider-Man, most people don't think of Miles Morales or the others.
And that's what I'm saying. They did it well. They've expanded the brand, but they did it in a good way. Even with the Flash, they turned it like in a family kind of thing. It's just it did it right, rather than having 6 people run around with the same name with no connection.
Well, see, I mean, they are kind of connected because Jay Garrick is like basically the original guy, and then Wally West was Barry Allen was
But Jay Garrick and his ring was completely actually different than the traditional Green Lantern rings, though, too, and things. So there's a different disconnect there.
Not talking about the Flash. Sorry, Jay Garrick's the Flash. I think you mean Alan Scott.
Yeah, that's who it meant. I was thinking Alan Scott.
Usually Green Lantern. Yeah, I get that. It's just I don't know. See, because this happened so long ago, people are used to it. But with Spider-Man, this is recent, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like it's like having Superman have someone else fill in for him, which has happened before, but people. I don't know. People didn't really like it. People wanted the actual Superman. They didn't want some other person. So, it's been done before, some characters, and it just doesn't work because people are used to this character being, a single type of character. Whereas Green Lantern from the get-go with Hal Jordan, it's been shown that he's not the only Green Lantern. There's like an entire legion of them throughout the universe.
Right. And
that's just how it's been written. That's just how it's been set up. With Spider-Man, like with Superman, if they were to replace Superman with someone else, people would just not like it. It's like, no, I want Clark Kent. I want Superman Kal-El.
Right. But see, Marvel wants to replace the actual character rather than keeping them both. And that's one that I think the disconnects. And it was mentioned Alan Scott, his ring couldn't work on wood. Absolutely. And his ring actually was completely different, had nothing to do with the major lantern.
Yeah, it was magic.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. See, the thing is, if you have multiple characters and they share the same name, then you might run the risk of basically not selling as much because then people don't know what to buy or something like that. Because that is also a risk, having so many of the same character with the same names. Yeah.
No, I do have some disagreements with some of the things that DC has done too. I'm not going to just pat them on the back for everything. For example, I don't think I like how they've changed the Huntress. I really liked the character design of the Huntress earlier on. And it's nothing because of, once again, minority characters and stuff like that. I loved the Huntress outfit.
What do they do to the Huntress?
She looks completely different. Now, granted, they darkened her up too, but she doesn't wear it's the outfit in general. She doesn't look anything like she used to wear and stuff. I thought her outfit was cool.
Oh, it's like her outfit was too sexy or something, and they got rid of it.
Yeah, probably. Sort of like they did with the Batgirl. I loved the Batgirl outfit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like she does. Yeah, so like she doesn't have any proportions anymore or something like that. She's just flat chested.
Heck,
because having boobs is apparently horrible now.
Yeah, I love the Batgirl version in the '60s show. I loved that outfit. Of course, she looked hot too, but
I'm a fan of the Batgirl with cleavage.
Yeah, the Batman Adam West series in the '60s. I loved that outfit. I think that was an awesome version of Batgirl.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just like what else?
You have somebody else in here saying they're a Damian fan. I love Damian as Robin.
Yeah, I mean it's like I
think Tim Drake can take him.
Yeah, see, Tim Drake is. I mean, Tim Drake is a great character. It's just I don't know. I just feel like in terms of flaws, Damian seemed like he's the flawed character, and being Bruce Wayne's actual son, you have that father and son relationship, and it's kind of a strained relationship. So it's just I don't know. I just feel like Damian offered a good amount of character development for Batman due to like their strained relationship in the comic books.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I definitely think it has
Yeah.
a powerful story. Actually, I'm a big fan of the Robins in general. I've always liked the Robin character, even when people thought he was stupid. I mean, you got Dick Grayson. He was the acrobat, had a similar upbringing, lost his parents and stuff, so he had that closeness. He grew up and became his own character, Nightwing. I'd love that. Then you had Jason Todd. He was rash. He didn't follow the rules.
On the street. Yeah, he grew up on the street, and he also hated Dick. He also didn't like Dick. He thought he was always trying to one up him.
Exactly. He had his own character. He was brash, and in Russian, of course, eventually got him temporarily killed.
and then Tim Drake was like the one who basically found out who his identity was and knew that Batman needed a Robin. Yeah, that was his deal.
Right. He's the detective that could possibly surpass Batman as the detective. He wasn't as good as a fighter, but he was a very good tactician. And he did learn how to fight good and all. And they got him through the whole thing, the Chuck Dixon series, with all that growth where he got better. Yeah. But he's probably he's probably the weakest of the fighters out of the group. But he doesn't need it as much because he's such a good tactician.
And then there's Damian, who is the product of date rape.
Yeah.
Because Batman got raped.
And he's the true son though of Bruce Wayne. So
he's your son, yeah.
And then what makes it even better then is not them individually. I love the issues where you see them intermingling with each other. I love those issues where you see them Dick and Tim and everything. They're all getting together. You see those dynamic relationships, like right now with Dick Grayson and Damian. It's like that's a really cool brotherly relationship in the book.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh yeah, we are running pretty long, so we'll wrap this up quick.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to run this so long.
Oh yeah, it's pretty, yeah.
Yeah, but we had a good rant. We talked about some comic creators. We talked about some television shows as well as comics. Everybody. Once again, I would like you to plug your stuff, and I'm going to have them send me that. I'm going to make sure that I add that in the comment section when the video loads up, so anybody can watch it. So you can check out his stuff. You want to do another shout out for yourself, real quick?
Yeah, it's just on Twitter I'm known as Billy Cool, and my YouTube name is Billy Danklor of the Memes. The link to my Twitter is basically on my channel, so you can find it on my channel.
All right, and I thank you greatly for coming on here and chatting with me, because I can nerd out like you wouldn't believe. This is so fun to me.
Oh yeah.
So hope to do it again. I've been getting it, and once again, to anybody else that you want to do one of these with me sometime, send me. And if you already have and I said it and you think I'm just putting you off, remind me again, because the list is getting huge and I wasn't smart enough to start writing it down. So I should have. I didn't realize the outpour was going to be so big.
Yeah.
All right, well, everyone, I do thank you for taking the time to watch, and go out, check out his stuff too. Okay. Oh, you drew a picture.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. Looking forward to it. And until next time, you guys, keep it frugal.
Yeah. See ya.
We're still on here. I got to stop the broadcast. There we are.